All right, are we live? Possibly. Maybe. Just gonna wait and see. Catch up soon. How is there this much stream delay? That's crazy. There we go. Just gonna wait and see. Yes, I am live. All right, welcome whoever happens to be here. Probably no one yet. Probably just me. Probably just me. Yes, tell everyone in the Discord that I'm live. Tell all the people. Well, hello, good thing no one's here to hear my early stream guffaws, okay? Welcome to anyone who happens to be here. I should be doing a panel because it's Monday, but it's also a holiday, and it just doesn't feel like a panel day. It feels like a Mario and chill kind of day. So that's what we're doing instead, okay? Especially because I've been really enjoying this hack. Kind of want to make a bit more progress on it. I really wanted to do a panel on flock cameras, but then I'm like, do I actually want to set up a whole panel and stuff? Maybe that would have been a better format, perhaps, but this way, if no one wants to talk about flock cameras, then I can kind of just, you know, do my own thing. I forgot to join the Discord. I'm not in the live on YouTube Discord. That's kind of a me issue as well. There we go. I think I did everything right. I think so. Possibly. Possibly. Yes, I must have. It's Big Soda. Big Soda, say something. How's it going? There we go.
Hey, did you cut your grass today?
I don't have grass, Big Soda. You know that. I did everything right? I think so. You know,
well, I cut my grass today.
You cut your grass every day. That doesn't make any sense. Every time I talk to you, you're cutting your grass. That's literally like, unless you're just cutting little segments every day, that doesn't make any sense. It's impossible.
I cut
have grass,
3x1 meter section,
you know,
and then stop, and then so that way I can continue tomorrow and tell you the next day that I'm cutting grass, and then so that way I can constantly in a perpetual state of grass. No, I don't want to send a picture yet, babe. It needs to be tightened up with weed eating.
No, that's what I said. Send him a picture to prove that you only do a little bit of section.
Oh yeah.
This is a real thing that you just cut a small section a day. This isn't a joke.
Yeah, it's the internal grass mogging.
Huh. Okay.
I've been setting it up, you know, for at least a week now.
Yeah, there's got to be a rate that you can go where every day you're cutting grass, and by the time you finish with the last strip, it's time to start the new strip. Your yard's gonna look like shit, though, is the problem. But
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The reason it doesn't matter is because when you look over to our neighbor's yard, like his yard is less hilly, and he does a way better job. So he's constantly grass mogging me. So it's something that I take it out on people in Discord.
People like me that don't have grass. I see.
Yeah, because I think he cuts his like. No, he cut. No, that's not what I'm talking about though. He cuts it. Yeah, I'm already being nagged. Good lord. No, he cuts his lower than mine because mine's got fucking. I ain't got the straightest yard, and so like I gotta cut mine at like
you got
3s and 4s.
Yards. That's right. Glad you said it.
Oh, at least I have a yard. you have a community yard.
That's kind of counts if you think about it.
Yeah. You pay all them illegals to come cut it, and then you want to deport them.
Look, we are well, actually Canada really doesn't, you know, we don't do that. We just let people come and they can stay as long as they want. So, you know.
It is Canada. You probably have like a Skid Row somewhere like right outside.
Oh yeah, but our homicides are, you know, low. That's the trade-off. I'm sorry you want to be murdered, okay? I understand that, man. It's more like
Are you even
excitement to everyday
free?
life.
Are you even free if you're not getting constantly under threat of murder?
Hey, Rage Page. Imagine
So
being
talking
allergic
about
to grass. I'm not allergic to grass, okay? Like, I understand the
Wow.
possibility of it being used for abuse and stuff like that. I get that. And if they wanted to do, like, a surveillance state and start actually spying on people, sure. But, like, there's a ton of... Because I watch all those, like, true crime little YouTube channels. There's a ton of stuff where, like,
Yeah.
they're using these cameras to catch people. Like, someone, like... There was one where some guy, like, killed his, like, 14-year-old stepdaughter. And they tracked all of the cameras, and they like could see, oh, he went here, he went there, and they like solved the whole thing using these license plate cameras.
Wow, Confluence. If you're not a criminal, why don't you just let the police come every day at 2:00, or better yet, just let them come randomly. Let them just knock on your door and let them come in. If you're not a criminal and you have nothing to hide, just let them in your house.
First of all,
Let them
this
read
is
through
in-
your mail.
This is in public, though. That's the thing. Good to see you, Section, and I'm assuming this is a bot. Coke free since 2015. I found you on Subway Facebook. I don't know what that means. That's how I found your YouTube and Twitch. I don't use Twitch. Can you play idle restaurants for YouTube playables? I feel like this has to be a bot comment.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's tough because it's kind of it seems like with me, like a cop is supposed to witness a crime, but if you're not careful, then you become in this state of, I forget the name of the movie, Minority Report, and it seems like this is just a small direction toward that, to where we start to actually watch every crime, and then we get to where we can predict the crime, and then I don't know, it just seems a little too much to me.
How is this moving toward like a pre-crime scenario? Like, it's like it's not like they're not using these to just like, if you haven't done a crime. It's not like they're like monitoring Big Soda and like looking, like, at least my understanding, it's like, I guess if an Amber Alert goes out, then yeah, they're gonna like check the data and see if like a red Nissan Altima, drove past down this highway. But I feel like that's like a good thing to do.
Well, but it's like, I don't know. To me, it just seems to give this weird power of, they're no longer waiting for a crime to happen. It's like they're just picking and choosing which crime they want to go after, because now they can constantly observe every crime. And I don't know if I like that too much.
But I guess like, the harm is like possible misuse, but like but the benefits is like when, like I said, like the Amber Alerts being stopped, all these like cases where like someone is murdering somebody, and then yeah, you can like pick him up on this license plate reader. This one down the road, you can see where he stopped for gas. You can see he went to the hardware store, and then you can figure out that he bought a bunch of like stuff to dissolve a body or whatever the fuck. Like to me, like that's, if it's used in that way, then I feel like that's a good thing. It's helping us solve crimes in possibly a less invasive way than we would have done otherwise. Good to see you, Frankie.
What if they're just mailing tickets to you? They seen that, oh, you didn't properly stop at this stop sign, and we had a flock camera, like I guess 100 feet back, and we noticed you didn't stop properly. You California rolled through the stop sign, so we just mailed you the ticket, and so that way we can pay it when you get a chance.
Don't you guys have that in America already? Like, not to that extent, but like here we have like red light cameras and like speed cameras and stuff. Isn't that like a thing in America?
Yeah, it is a thing in America. Not in every state. Not in every state, but it's like in bigger cities. It's like in bigger cities.
And I don't even like that, to be honest with you. But it seems like there should be some element that I should be able to get away with a crime until I'm caught doing the crime.
I mean, like, what is it, like 3 federal crimes a day that we violate? I think it's like 3 of them a day.
And that's what scares me, is the fact that we're catching everyone in fucking crime, and now everyone's just getting ticketed, sent tickets to them, and it's like, I don't like that.
Yeah. Confluence, I have a question.
Today, Junior.
We're not talking about physics. We're not talking about physics first.
It's not about physics. I have a question.
Is it relative to the topic?
Oh, hey, Section.
We're not talking about a specific topic. Anyway, Complex.
We are talking about it.
We are. So don't derail. Hey, what's up, Frankie?
Oh, good to see you.
So,
man.
Confluence, I noticed you haven't given me the trivia winner yet. Why haven't you given me the trivia winner thing on Discord, even though I won it a couple weeks ago?
Nope, that's
No,
not
you-
yours.
Because you suck.
Wait, I thought you didn't win it.
You
Didn't
cheated.
No, remember a couple weeks ago, I did win one
Cheaters
trivia.
don't get a title.
I thought that?
No,
wait,
I did
thought
win
that
one.
was. Wait, did he? I thought that was the one where everyone gave their points to Big Soda, and then he won instead.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the
Yeah,
one
you did
before
it.
that. It was one where remember it was the one where Keelan cheated and admitted to cheating and I won?
Yeah, I think Kirk's
It's a
right.
philosophy one.
That's a separate one from the. Which one did you win, Big Soda?
Yes.
I won the one. I want to say I won the one after that. I'd have to go back and look at the topic, but I remember Keelan
Yeah,
won.
make Kirk go back and find the video.
Yeah, Kirk got the default win, and then we suspected Kirk of cheating. Kirk still got the win.
Yeah, but you still cheated though, Soda.
I didn't cheat. I won. It was a philosophy one. Remember, Confluence?
Yeah,
I
that
think
does.
I
That does,
remember
that
that.
does sound familiar.
Okay, so you better give me the trivia winner thing.
Kirk, go find the video that you won in, and then link that to Confluence, and that'll clear your name, right? And he'll
I
know
will.
for sure and can give you the title.
I'm gonna
No, no, you should give
quickly
me-
private.
back in the
I'm
live
quickly
stream.
private that video.
No, Confluence, I'm being serious. If you don't give me the trivia winner, I'm not going to come on your panels anymore.
Oh,
No, I'm on the panels anymore.
no.
Confluence, I
Not the-
legit
not the
won fair and square.
Real trouble now, boys and girls.
I'll give you the
Kirk.
role, Kirk. Although you did cheat in the
I
past.
did not cheat.
You cheated in the
Kirk derailing
past.
shit. That would be terrible.
Oh my
But-
God, it's very terrible.
But that's fair, Kirk. You know, I
Brady
will.
doesn't
I
have
will.
a Discord role.
Alright. So,
Hey,
Soda,
Kirk, let's just put it this way. I'd rather listen to Frankie talk about dicks and asses than listen to your questions. So if you want to leave,
thank you. Thank you, section.
Person's like,
Yeah, I
thank you.
posted it. I posted in the general.
Thank you, section. I really appreciate that.
Of course, man. You're way more interesting than Kirk.
Oh yeah.
And you're also not half Jewish or quote unquote non-binary, so you're leagues ahead of
Kirk
him.
is not half
Yeah,
Jewish. Okay, bro's like a quarter Jewish.
Well, anyway, Confluence, can I ask my question?
5%.
What's
No,
your
no,
what's your
no,
question?
no.
Is there another
No,
question?
Yes, but my first question is, when are you going to do it?
Do what?
Never.
The roll probably after the stream.
Okay.
3 days after
My
never.
question
Kirk.
is, my question was, have you ever heard of the universal approximation
Hey,
theorem?
no.
That's not related. Kick him.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like
Kick
it's
him.
flock
Ban him.
camera related.
No, but we don't have a specific topic. This is a just please.
Yes, we do. You just don't like the specific topic.
Yeah,
Fuck
the
off.
You
specific
not read.
cameras.
You not read it before clicking.
Or well, let me ask you this: Why can't Big Soda just give it to me right now? Because he's a mod.
I don't think I can give.
If he can, you can ask him. You know, I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure
Yeah,
if mods
yeah,
can
yeah.
give rolls. I don't know.
I'll check and I'll see.
If I have a legitimate question that's actually on fucking topic, can I ask that?
Go ahead, section.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, don't we have the right to face our accusers? If a flock camera is not even a human entity, you're not under arrest. There's no police that actually saw you and stopped you. It's just a camera. And we know
And
that
what they'll
digital
use-
data can be fudged, so they could fake a crime anytime they wanted to if we rely solely on that evidence.
Yeah,
I
I,
mean,
don't, I don't think
that
we should.
was-
I don't think we should be
look.
like looking at flock cameras to find crimes. I guess I'm saying if there's a crime, if there's an
Well-
assault in an area, I think it's good that we have flock cameras to like check that out.
Sure, Confluence, but here's the problem, right? You could say that it would be good to have those flock cameras to see in an assault or whatever, but those cameras don't have real time, kind of like data real time, so that they can't, just see a face as match the face of we have this known assailant or this known, saying felon, whatever. That just doesn't work that way because what I've learned as like doing asset protection and shit like that, what I've learned is that a lot of shoplifting goes unnoticed. police don't even know.
Yeah, but that's
Because
not.
No, I like it. I like
But-
it that way.
But flock cameras do, right? My understanding is they do track like license plates, cars, and also like faces, and they will like record that.
Facial recognition.
Yeah.
So does every other camera. A camera with a good programming system can track license plate, faces, hand gestures, body movement.
Yeah,
It
I'm not
doesn't.
saying.
It just
Yeah, I'm not saying
It
flock cameras are like
understands.
some unique, like impossible to replicate technology, but I'm saying I don't mind that they. The point is with the assault, if an assault happens, then they do have cameras they could check and then like see the facial stuff and at least get some idea of like what happened there. Like that's at least the advantage of those cameras.
Confluence.
to answer
I have another
a
question.
little bit.
Well, real
the
quick,
counter-
before you ask the question section, I do have another question, Confluence.
If it's
Is it
related,
camera
Is it about
related?
flock
otherwise
cameras?
fuck off.
No, okay, let me ask this. When can I ask my other question? It's not
When
related
the
to flock
topic
cameras.
changes, pay for a topic change and you can ask it.
No, Confluence.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
did this to me during a Discord call.
And
This is
do
a
it
Discord.
no.
Section.
It doesn't matter. He's live on YouTube.
I want
Confluence,
to do a little pushback.
Can you tell
on
me when I can ask my other
real
question?
quick.
When you don't know
my
for it.
God.
I'm asking Confluence.
Yeah, maybe when we're done talking about the flock cameras, how about that, Kirk?
Okay,
Confluence,
sure. I'll be back in like
remember
15
you-
minutes.
He said
Hold
he
on,
didn't care
I
about your
push back.
blueberries and frogs. Tell him you don't care about his question.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, fuck you, Kirk. I sent you a 10-second video, and you're like, and you quoted me, and you said, if I'm not interested, I don't click. Well, guess what, Kirk?
Yeah, I'm not asking you to click a video. I'm asking you to
Yeah.
answer a question.
Yeah, and if I'm not interested,
Everyone,
I
you
don't
don't
answer the
know
question.
topic
You
change.
couldn't be arsed to watch a frog duplicating blueberries. The most interesting video ever. One blueberry goes in, 3 berries go out. 10-second video. You can't even be arsed to do that. Okay?
Yo, that's awesome.
But my topics are
It's an
actually
awesome
interesting.
video.
No, they're not interesting. Only you find them interesting.
You don't
That's
see
the
Brandon.
problem.
That's really not that big of a coincidence. That's
All right, so like,
most
look,
of the times
I
that you
wonder-
could have joined.
I wanted to push back a little bit on section. Because we'll put it like this section. If a flock camera catches an assault, right? Catches an assault and shit, right? I understand that
y'all made
no crime has been committed.
Good.
Like no crime has been committed, but the thing is a witness to a crime. So they'll use it as a witness to a crime. So that's how they can prosecute. So that's how that
Sure.
works. But I do
Sure.
agree with you on the full fledged that they could make fake crimes. They could make fake crimes for statistical
No, I mean-
reasons.
There is potential that it could be used to help, but there's equal potential that it can be used for bad. And we actually have proof
Yeah.
that it's already been used for bad. There's at
Well, the
least
thing
a
is, I've
dozen
seen it.
cops that have been in trouble for surveilling women in a creepy way that I'm not going to say.
Yeah, that's
well,
happening.
these cameras. So
They're
it's like,
definitely
of course that would be
abusable. I mean, another issue is that
Yeah.
apparently they're very easy to like hack, and other people could then use them to surveil.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
these are
Confluence, I got another
problems.
question. And this will probably land the plane, won't it? Would you be
That's
fine
it.
with the government wiretapping everyone's phone?
no, because that's
No,
private.
because they already
Me
did it.
driving down a highway,
no,
I'm
They
in
already
public.
did it.
But you're in public. Anyone else that's walking near you could hear you talking on the phone, and they could listen in.
That's
Is
still
it okay for people to record your
There's-
private phone calls?
There's a section. There's a reason that if I recorded your private phone call, I am breaking the law. But if I take a video of you in public, I'm totally within my legal right to do that because there's no expectation of privacy. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Okay. And then but the thing is though, it's not a person taking the picture in public. It's a camera that someone installed that no one's actually behind.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just
I mean,
pointing
yeah,
out that
I agree.
I can't
So-
tap into your phone. That's illegal wiretapping. But I
Yeah,
can
but see, but
take a video of you in
Right,
public.
But what I'm getting at is slippery slope fallacy. So first off, we start off with cameras out in public in supposedly non-intrusive means, right? Right, and then later on down the line, they'll say, "Oh, well, these have helped us solve
because
so many
they-
crimes. Now we're going to start putting them inside restaurants and inside subways and inside bathrooms and inside your house.
Bad.
What's to stop them?
You realize that you started this off by naming the fallacy you're committing, right? So I mean, I feel like you must be self-aware. You literally named the fallacy, and then you're making the fallacy. So you seem to know it's a fallacy that you're doing. You named the fallacy you're doing. You said it.
Which fallacy did I make?
The slippery slope fallacy. You called it out. You said slippery slope fallacy, and then you did a slippery slope fallacy.
I'm saying no, but listen, what I'm saying is you could call it a slippery slope, but we have seen the government.
Why did you say slippery slope fallacy?
Hold on, let me finish. Well, that's what I'm saying. You could call it that, and you know, fine, that's fine. You can call it that if you want to, but what I'm saying to counter it being called a slippery slope fallacy is that we have actually seen the government pull stunts like this before. They have gotten in trouble for wiretapping when they weren't supposed to. We know that the government. I don't think it was the Patriot Act, was it?
Yeah,
it was some other thing.
The Patriot Act.
The Patriot Act, and then it was the recent one.
I got the answer.
They've already done it. You think they won't do it again, or to a greater degree if we let them get away with it?
Yeah, it's 1984. It'll be 1984. Here's the point. It's 1984. Here's the point. They're still going to use good and bad for whatever. It doesn't matter. You can use good and bad for everything. The problem I'm having is this. Is that they're going to use AI to create crimes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like all these, but okay, but there's two separate discussions. We got people like Brett who's making little cute libertarian comments. Good to see you, Brett. You know, and then there's the possibility for abuse, but those are like separate things because it sounds like you guys are against this, even if it wasn't abused, right? Like even if we could guarantee it wouldn't be abused, and they just are putting cameras in public spaces and they're only using them. It sounds like you guys are still opposed to that because you're like my privacy and stuff, which I understand. That's fair. But the abuse thing is a separate thing because I agree with that. I agree that, yeah, they have potential for abuse. They have been abused.
Conflict,
but let's say they weren't abused.
Conflict, we do understand there is no expectation of privacy in public spaces, in public facilities, and in public government's facilities. We know that because that's a part of freedom. But if you are doing a private phone call, that's the expectation of privacy. If you're doing a private matter in a bathroom, that's the expectation of privacy because it deals with the intimacy of the human body when it comes to a bathroom. Also, your home is expectation of privacy because it's private, because it's a private property.
I completely agree.
Not a public property. So then the problem is that it's going to go into this whole flock camera is a whole notion of it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's
the
flock
flock cameras aren't being put in bathrooms. The flock cameras are not being put in your public home.
Yes. And you know of Confluence. That's the problem. Do you trust the government not to do that?
I would say.
Can you guarantee they won't?
No, but that's like. Isn't that the same with like every? Isn't that the same thing with like every technology that the government has? It's like. Do they have a
which is why we should be wary about them using technology. Yes, exactly. Now you're getting it, Confluence.
But then what do you want? But Section, you could say the same thing. You could say the same argument about like police having firearms. You could say, well, do you trust the government to use firearms? The government has firearms that you're not allowed to have, Section. Like that's
not true.
Yes, it is true.
Well,
what are you talking about?
True.
Here's the thing. I don't think that the citizens should be blocked from having any weaponry.
We don't have tanks and missiles.
You can make a missile.
You can own a JDAM. You can own a plane that shoots a JDAM. Can you own an Apache attack helicopter that works?
Yes, you can.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
If you can afford it, you can.
No, you can't.
You know what's one of the craziest things I ever heard was this. It's that people, regular citizens. Hold on. Hey, Section, hold on. Look, one of the craziest things I ever heard, like recently heard, was that regular U.S. citizens have bio-weapons labs in their garages. It is fact. There's over 1,500 of them that we know of.
Those are illegal,
in the United States.
Not necessarily.
What do you mean not necessarily? You guys are just saying nonsense. It's not necessarily illegal for a private citizen to have a using lab?
Yes.
That's not. Show any example of that. Show any example of that, please. Just like I want you to show an example of how you can own a working Apache attack helicopter.
Yeah, what do you mean by working? clarify that.
Like
You
functioning.
mean when it turns on and you can fly?
That has
Because you
missiles,
absolutely
that has ordinances. I mean, in the same way, the argument started section with I'm saying there's certain stuff certain weaponry that the government
I'm
can
right
own
here.
that you can't, and you're like no, and then I'm like, well, you can't own a jet capable of dropping JDAMs and have JDAMs in it, and you're like, well, yes,
Take
you
them, go over
can.
there. I'll be with him.
So like. You can own
because
decommissioned
I'm
things,
right
sure,
here.
but that's not the same as like something.
I turned around.
You can own the jet. You can't necessarily
sorry.
own and use the missiles. But here's the thing,
Sorry,
Confluence, I'm trying
okay,
to prove
so
that
then
you
you're
can.
so
Listen.
What?
You can own the missiles. Who do you think makes them? Private companies. Those are citizens that own them and they sell them to the government.
they have
So actually,
special.
you can.
No, you can't
The
section.
requirements, but you can. Yes, if I apply for the appropriate permits and get verified by the government to manufacture them, I can indeed own them.
Do you think you're gonna get that? Do you think you're gonna get that?
If I go through all the appropriate channels, I could, yes.
That's
I'm
insane.
not going to do it, but I absolutely could. How do you think that
Look, Bonnie's
Lockheed and all of
talk.
those other places have these? They make them for the government. Those are private companies.
I
Those are
understand.
citizens making them, and they own them up until the point that they sell them to the government. They own them. That's private citizens owning them.
That is.
And I would also venture to say,
you're not being good faith. You don't think that's the same as first of all, these military contracts are like carefully selected. So no, you couldn't get one section. These are like obvious. It's like how Coca-Cola has the only contract for being able to import coca leaves into America. They're the only company in the United States. You are not able to do that. And Coca-Cola is a private company, but that's not the same as saying, well, I guess then private citizens can own coca leaves. It's like, no.
It's a private citizen who does own it. They went through the appropriate process to do so, but so could anyone else. It's just because no one else is doing it doesn't mean they can't.
First of all, a bunch of places tried to get the coca leaves. It's only given to Coke. You don't think Pepsi would love to have the same thing? They absolutely would. They're not allowed.
Yeah,
they don't have
sue
it.
for monopoly.
I don't know. Maybe they've tried.
Maybe they should, because you can't monopolize an entire industry, and that would be exactly what that is. So they need to allow for fair application of that certificate and contract.
Rage Page is asking, can I extract Coke from Coca-Cola? Well, no, because it does have coca leaves, but the coca leaves are decocanized. So they take the coca leaves and they take the cocaine out of them now.
Oh. And Confluence, what I would further this
private
with...
citizens can't own cocaine, although I guess Section would counter, and Section could say, well, no, because in hospitals they have, like, OxyCat has talked about how they use cocaine in certain anesthetic contexts, and I guess that's an OxyCat is a private citizen, so I guess private citizens can own cocaine. So I guess private citizens can own everything, and laws mean nothing according to Section 2.
In that instance, is it the hospital that owns it, or is it an individual in the hospital that owns it?
It's a private. Is it an individual that in Lockheed Martin that personally owns the ordinances? No, the company does.
Yes.
In the same way,
who owns Lockheed Martin?
Nobody. It's a company.
It's a private
That's
citizen.
not true.
Like
Somebody owns it.
CEO.
Nobody.
The CEO, the president.
The CEO doesn't own a. How do you guys think companies work? CEOs don't own companies.
Oh my god. Someone
built the company.
Someone made a company, but companies become their own for the purposes of law. Companies are like treated as their own like personal entities. That's why like companies can get sued themselves. They're like treated as like an individual in the purposes of the law. Because like if you're a publicly traded company, which a lot of these places are, right, then you're owned by like a bunch of people and there's a majority shareholder maybe, but that's not who like owns the company.
Okay, but still, okay, so it's like, it's a large institutional investors, mutual funds, and individual shareholders. The one who's running the ship, his name is Jim Hightail.
Right. He doesn't personally own the ordinances that Lockheed Martin makes. He doesn't personally own them.
The one that's who
he oversees them
to the government.
He owns them because he oversees them.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't own them. He doesn't own them.
Sign off on them.
He has to own them. What are we saying right now?
And Confluence.
What are you guys saying right now?
The furtherance of what I'm saying is that The Second Amendment doesn't stipulate what weaponry we're supposed to be allowed to have, and while the government is currently infringing on that right, we absolutely should have the right to own all of these things. As long as you have the funds to purchase them, you should be able to own it.
So you
and
are
if you use it for ill means, it's still illegal to do that. So you would still get in trouble.
So you actually think private citizens should be able to like buy, let's say if Russia is selling a nuke, you think that I should just be able to go and buy a nuclear weapon?
Yes, I do think so.
You actually believe that?
Yes, I actually believe that.
Look, here's the rule of thumb. The rule of thumb is this. The rule of thumb is that the United States citizen has to be just as armed as the United States military because of the founding fathers' forethought and vision of a potential invasion from another country, that the citizenry should be as well armed as its military. That's what their vision was, and they were right about it.
I mean, you may not agree with it, but that's my opinion on it. I do think so. I also think that if you own a pistol, even if it's a 22, you're still required to obey the laws. You can't just go around firing that shit off whenever you feel like it and hitting people with it. If you owned a nuke, there would be laws and stipulations. You're not allowed to fire this, and if you do fire it, you're responsible for whatever the fuck comes next.
And you think that's the world you want to live in, where so if someone is going rogue, like some like Oklahoma City bomber type character, he's not gonna follow the laws. So you think it's like cool if he has the funds that he buys a nuke and just like detonates it in like downtown New York and just like kills like 5 million people.
Yeah, guess what? If someone who's already not following the law wants a nuke, you think they're gonna follow the law?
You gotta shut those kids up section, okay? You gotta nuke those kids, brother.
That's not me.
That's
Frankie,
me.
you gotta nuke your kids.
I'm at the park with my kids, you idiot.
Yeah, that's not me. But yeah, Confluence, someone who's already going to do one of those heinous crimes is already not following the law. You think they're going to give a shit that the law says they can't buy a nuke? If they wanted to use a nuke, they would just go buy one.
Yeah, but nukes can't be legally sold, so they can't. But if nukes could legally be sold...
They can. They don't need to buy it legally.
Nuclear material can be sold.
I know, but these things are so tightly controlled because we don't want anyone to be able to make a nuke.
Please.
That's why we have. That's why
enriched to 60% without anyone stopping them because they're so tightly controlled.
Why do you think there's a reason that we haven't seen the terrorists like detonate a dirty bomb in an American large area?
Because we stopped them before they were able to do it. But that doesn't mean we'll always be successful, does it?
It's precisely because we control, right, the importation and exportation of these materials so closely that it ends up being very difficult to have enough like fissile material to build your own nuclear weapon. It's funny he's walking out of Kids Park saying nukes can be sold.
Says that they got one inside the mountain, so they could probably be working on it right now, and there wouldn't really be much we can do to stop it if we don't know about it.
Like exactly. There's probably some. Fuck, dude.
But the fact is, Iran was able to acquire the material necessary to even try. With all those regulations you're talking about, they still had the material, and they enriched to 60% before we found out and were able to stop them.
Yeah,
what if we didn't find out?
We don't even let whole countries own nukes. Imagine letting some retard own one. Exactly. Like, what are we even talking about here?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that anyone who owned one would be required to report that they have it, obviously. Just like any country that owns one tells all the other countries that have them, they tell each other it. What, Ezekiel? Okay, I'll come get my shoes on. Thanks, bud.
Hey, all right. Hey, Max, stop getting in front of his face.
Yeah, Frankie's just like cursing.
Yeah, right?
He's like, I'm at the park. Motherfucker, what the fuck?
Son of a bitch, dicks and ass. And the kids are like, whoa, what the? Mommy, what does dick and ass mean? Did you hear that?
What does it mean to masturbate with sandpaper?
Yeah. And what happens if you sprinkle lemon juice on it afterwards? Someone said that makes it tingle nice. What does that mean?
Really?
So
Okay.
Confluence, what about if we just don't let people have any serious missiles? Anything below that is valid. So you could have a working tank, you could have an Apache with small-scale missiles and 50 cal hailstorm cannons. All that shit's legal, but just no nuke.
I don't think I want
Confluence,
people
you
owning like jets that can drop missiles, period, because that could still, you know, I don't know, kill like tens of
They can own
thousands of people.
drones.
No. Hold
They
on.
can own drones.
Hold on. Section. Hold on.
Yeah, not like drones with like ordinances on them. That's not
They
legal.
can strap ordnance to it already.
Yeah,
but-
you can literally have an attachment to hold up to 25 pounds with a drone. Okay.
I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you can't do these things. I'm saying it's good that there's laws in place that if they catch you trying to make a drone into like an attack drone, that they will do something about that. They can arrest you for the mere
Is that
possession
actually a
of
law?
that. Yes, of course it's a
Is that actually a
law.
law?
Yes, of course it's a law.
What's the law
Any
called
drone-
that says you can't make a drone drop tannerite, for example?
I would have to look it up. Section. Do you not think it's a law?
I don't know if it is. I'm not saying it's not. I just don't know.
What would you?
I
What would
thought
be
that
your
drones
best?
are
What would
highly
be your best
unregulated
guess?
just so far.
What would be your best
I
guess?
think that there's a possibility that there's some kind of explosive ordinance law, but it doesn't specifically state drones. But it would potentially still be covered under that. But I don't know.
Okay, but I think we can all agree it's definitely illegal to do, even if we don't know what specific law
No,
it
but
falls under.
you can own tannerite and explode it. So I don't know if that's true.
Not.
I think if you strap it to a drone and start flying the drone around, I think you're gonna get in trouble.
I don't think it matters. I think it matters only if you're endangering others when you do it. Perhaps that might be the aspect that makes it criminal.
No. That's not good, buddy. No.
I mean, there's literally YouTubers on YouTube that do that exact thing. They strap it to different stuff, whether it be a barrel downrange and they shoot it. I think I've seen some of them strap some kind of explosive to a drone and shoot it with buckshot.
Yeah, there's also
Stuff like
YouTubers.
that.
There's also YouTubers that have done that stuff and have actually gotten arrested because they find out that they're actually not allowed to like do some of the stuff they're doing in the jurisdictions they're in.
Maybe.
Jesus.
But I mean, our forefathers owned galleons that had like 50 or 60 cannons per side of the ship. I mean,
35 on each side. So 35 on each side and stuff.
that's no different than owning like legitimate artillery or missiles today.
Okay,
That
Brad is
means you
quoting a
can do
law. I don't know if
it.
this. I don't know if this is true, but Brad has a law in the chat.
I can't see the chat.
14
I guess you said it.
CFR section 107.23.
Of what?
Does he say what it says, or it's just the law itself?
He's just saying the law itself, so I'm not sure what it says.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and like I said, I'm not saying there isn't one, but I just don't know if there is.
Good to see you, Kokoshuko. I guess I'm saying I think there should be these laws. I don't think that we should just be able to own anything. I think there's probably a good reason that we can't own a nuke. Oh, he says a parallel
hurry up.
rule for a manned civil aircraft prohibits dropping objects that create a hazard with an exception only if reasonable precautions avoid injury or damage.
Right, so that's prohibiting you from damaging other people or other people's property with said drone or the ordinance therein.
Yeah,
But
I guess
you could do that on your own property.
Maybe I would definitely want to look up laws before I started assembling tannerite.
Well,
to a
sure,
drone.
yeah, you should make sure that in your area it's allowed. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of restrictions that the government have put on our legal rights that we technically should have. The Constitution grants those to us, and we should have them, but they've slowly been chipping away at them, and we just accepted it. That doesn't mean that it's right. Now, I could potentially agree on like, okay, well, if you won't let us have nukes and Tomahawk missiles and shit like that, okay, fine. But there's a certain level to where your side would also have to concede that this falls within the threshold of what would have been acceptable to our forefathers. They owned galleons.
I don't know if
They owned
galleons
cannons.
I don't know if galleons is the same as like nukes is the problem, right? Like
Well,
it's
I'm
not
not,
the
I'm not
same.
saying it is, but what I'm saying is there is an equivalent in today's technology to what would have been the devastation that a galleon could do compared to a regular rifle. And then whatever that equivalent is in today's terms, then I think that that should at least be the cutoff. If we're going to have a cutoff. But I don't remember the Constitution saying you can't have a nuke.
Yeah, because there wasn't nukes at the time of the Constitution, if you think about it. So.
Sure, but it didn't limit any type of firearm at all.
Yeah, but there weren't
And I'm
firearms.
sure they knew that guns would advance. Yeah, there was fully automatics back in that day. There was stuff like the puckle gun and stuff like that. Hold on, bud.
It's still none of them
You're
are
gonna go with me.
comparable to something like a nuclear
Okay.
bomb, I guess is my point.
No, but I mean, so what I'm saying is like there is weaponry that's comparable to a certain level of our weaponry, and I already conceded that if we can't have nukes, then there's a cutoff that would be comparable.
Yeah, like it may, like if you're just trying to argue for similar guns at the time, but
Yeah.
I don't think
Oh,
we
there's
can put
cinnamon.
like, missiles. Well,
Little
cinnamon.
baby came
I
back.
think cinnamon is legal in most places.
No, not that. I'm talking about a cat that comes around our house.
Oh,
Come on, bud. Stop yelling.
I'm speaking normally. I'm not trying to like scream.
Confidence. It's only drizzling. Okay. We're going to grab food. That's why there's a lot of background noise.
I can't remember what the parallel between this and flock cameras was. There's some reason we ended up in the weapons talk. Where the hell is World 3? What do you think they're gonna send nuclear regulators over your house to confirm you're doing things in order?
I'm pretty sure we can detect nuclear signals with our satellite technology as it is now.
I don't know. Then
But,
when with Iran, then wouldn't we be able to just kind of know if they got nukes instead of having to do the whole
Well,
Iran nuclear
there are
deal?
things that can interfere with it, like lead barriers, which most citizens probably couldn't have installed in their homes. You need feet thick of like lead and shit like that to block out radioactive signature.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, there probably is something that they can do to detect stuff, like some type
I
of
mean,
like
you potentially
heavenly
could if you're
Geiger
a fucking
counter.
millionaire, but yeah. But no, I think that we got on that topic because Frankie was talking about like government overreach and stuff like this. So that could be why. I forget exactly. But yeah, that's my main concern with the flock cameras is just the overreach, the harm. Would the harm outweigh the good or vice versa? And I don't think there's any data showing that the good outweighs the harm as of yet. I mean, we've already got at least a dozen cases of the cops themselves misusing the cameras, let alone any unknown instances of them being hacked or accessed and used for bad. It just seems like a bad idea to me.
Right, but for every example where it's like used for bad, like there's like, I don't know, probably like tens of thousands of examples of like flock cameras being used to like I said, like stop to get a child who's been kidnapped back, and you know, solving a murder case.
That sounds like an exaggeration to me.
I don't think it is. These are used. This happens all the time.
They just got installed. How are they used all the time and to the tens of thousands?
I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean by just installed, and maybe the company's different, but they've had like those license plate reader things installed for years now, at least.
Well, the question
Some
is, do you
places
think,
maybe, but not nationwide.
do you think you think certain organizations may justify saying that, hey, we couldn't have done this without flock cameras, and kind of put more emphasis on flock cameras being this parameter of good because they want to justify putting in more flock cameras and, justifying a bigger budget so that way they can have more money, then put in more flock cameras, then have more money, and this, I guess, massive circle of justifying more spending.
I'm sure, but I mean, like, if they're, I don't know, if the empirics are pointing in a direction of like these cameras stopping crimes and like solving crimes and stuff, then I understand the privacy concerns. Obviously, I get that, but it just seems like a net benefit still.
I don't know. The compliments, I think you've just been in Canada too long.
Maybe, I don't know. It's just like I said, like it's one thing, and I mean, like for me, the biggest thing is kind of like if we get another or the same NSA like spying stuff, where it's like, yeah, once we have all this infrastructure in place, it's like a China thing, right? Where it's like the moment like they have all these cameras, and in the moment like the Hong Kong stuff happens, and then COVID goes on, then they use all this technology to just like stamp out Hong Kong resistant stuff and throw them all in jail because they had the technology in place already. So I understand that to me is like the strongest case on not having these, is that as soon as the government does, if they're not already deciding to grossly misuse these, it will make it very easy. So like in the worst case, let's say some like leftist gets in power and then like makes a bunch of like, I don't know, right-wing stuff illegal, or is trying to crack down on Christianity, or there's another pandemic or something, and they're like, you can't go to church, you can't visit your family, and now they start using this already existing infrastructure that they've been putting in for the past how many years to now like stop that. Like, so I could see that.
If you think about it, the FISA warrant system was set up after the Patriot Act of 2001, and it took the government 14 years before it was used against an actual president candidate to justify spying on American citizens. That was used not only on your average citizen, but used on someone who was actually running for office at the time. So I can't imagine how many years it'll take flock cameras before they do something quite similar with this technology.
Right. And I can see that. Like, again, I think the use is going to be a problem. And yeah, I could see less sheep. Yeah, if they use it for Amber Alerts and shit, totally awesome. But I saw a story where they installed one pointing directly at a weed dispensary parking lot, which seems egregious. Well, of course, to you, it would seem egregious. To me, I kind of want to know where all these weed smoking hippies are, you know? I want the government to kind of keep close tabs on those people, you know? So...
And it also gets into the argument of what happens when police start pulling more people over because they start catching what seems to be a crime on these flock cameras, which in turn isn't a crime. So, for example, let's say a flock camera is pointed a mile off the road, and let's say people start getting pulled over a mile from, let's say, a bar. And it's because of the flock cameras, because they're able to track this person leaving the bar, and then they're pulling them over, which is resulting in, I guess, a false sense of justification for pulling these people over, because they think they see people drinking and driving, but in return they're not. And so it just increases the amount of times people are pulled over, and so it could lead to more justified tickets. So now you have to defend yourself against a flock camera. And unless you're already videotaping your normal interactions on the road, it just seems like more of a hassle for a normal citizen to have to go through to then prove they're innocent.
Yeah, like I think, yeah, I think maybe there should be more like tight laws on like the specific cases. Like I'd almost be fine, and obviously maybe it's not going to be the case where this happens, but I'd almost be fine if it's like, okay, we're installing these cameras, but there's some impossible to break law that they can only be used, let's say in the case of like, you know, felony level crimes or something like that. Yeah, an investigation of a felony level crime. And they can't be the
sole evidence of a crime. You have to be able to prove it with other corroborating evidence. Like, you can't just be like, well, we caught you on this flock cam, so now we know you're guilty. No, like that's circumstantial evidence or some shit like that, where like, you know, you can't get a conviction on just the flock camera alone. You would have to actually connect it further than that. It can be used for investigative purposes only. So you won't receive a ticket in the mail saying, we caught you speeding, blah, blah, blah. and there's a huge difference between cameras that are only capable of scanning a license plate versus facial recognition. That's a huge area where they can overstep very easily.
Yeah.
I know there's this guy that went to the flock camera headquarters, so the actual company that sets up the flock cameras and does all the software and hardware for it. They don't like being videotaped, apparently. So there was this guy
How
who
ironic.
was shooting a 40-minute video of like him wanting to go in the main lobby and videotape because they're in a building location where they're not the only building inside of a. They're not the only building inside, or the only company inside of a building. And so a guy took a camera in there, and he was asking if he was able to go up and talk to anyone in the flock headquarters, and they spazzed out, trespassed him from the location, and so that was kind of interesting that they didn't want to be on camera. And so to me, it just, I don't know. I'm nervous about the government working with new technology, especially something like flock cameras, because I can see the stuff that we know the government does isn't always the worst stuff. A lot of times the worst stuff is the stuff we don't know or don't have the right to know. And the FISA warrants are a prime example of this. We were having FISA warrants where to begin with, you were never allowed to spy on American citizens. Then they started to justify, well, if this person is, 3 phone taps away from a foreign representative, then that's okay. And then we started to justify, well, if they're if the person is 1 wiretap away, then we can increase more Americans into this 3-prong, or I guess 3-cycle connection. So it's like if Trump was talking to Putin, then we could justify everyone in Trump's administration that he talked to, because that would be a 3-step approach. Like as long as they're 3 links away from a foreign entity, we're allowed to spy on them. And then it gets into this weird mess, and now we have presidents being spied on and shit like that. And the crazy thing is, I don't know if you know this, the Senate, with the help of the Republican majority, just denied the restrictions on FISA warrants. I think this happened like 4 months ago, where the Republicans voted, or the Republican majority voted against the revisions against the FISA warrant that would limit how FISA warrants can be used to spy on Americans. And Republicans voted in lockstep. They said, no, we don't want to revise it. We want it to go how it is, which is weird because, their president is the one that was mainly affected by these FISA warrants.
Well, and that's why I would argue that I'm America first. I'm not Republican.
Yeah.
Because I don't trust them any further than I do the Democrats.
Let's not go crazy.
I've always got that feeling from you, Section. You seem to be more of an American kind of constituent, more so than a Republican constituent. Hang on, I'm on the phone. The only problem is it's weird how Trump allowed this to then be signed into law, because this is the thing that almost took him down. If this didn't work out, then we wouldn't have had Trump in 2016.
Does he have the power to stop it though? Because from checks and balances, something they could put through without.
He gave a favorable nod that they should not revise the policy of the FISA warrant. And second, he is beneficial friends with a lot of the Republican majority. And so if he would have gave the inclination that, hey, you should not vote to, or you should vote to change the FISA warrant, then I'm pretty sure most Republicans would have voted in his favor, like Mike Johnson and all the others. And so it was kind of weird that something that personally affected him, that almost cost him his chance in 2016, that he wouldn't go against. But I think they're using this in a lot of deportation aspects and seeing people that talk outside the country with maybe relatives and stuff like that to see if they can track deportation, which is... it's somewhat justified, but the only problem is the fact that Trump was targeted with these FISA warrants.
that, but that sounds sketchy as hell. I don't support that at all.
It is.
I mean, I'm glad that it's helping with deportations, and that might be the sole reason why he didn't go against it. But other than that, I can't really say that I would support that, even if it is Trump doing it. I don't agree with everything he says or does. So
No, and
that's super sketchy to me.
It's just a weird one with me because I thought this would have been one he had a personal dog in the fight because, hey, these FISA warrants almost cost me my chance of winning in 2016. If Trump don't win in 2016, I don't know if he ever tries again. Like, we could have never had Trump if this whole Russia collusion thing actually broke through and allowed Hillary Clinton to win.
Aren't they using the FISA warrants and not actually using them the right way, and that's why it was a problem?
Yeah.
I mean, he may consider, well, as long as they're used properly, they're a good thing, but, obviously there is room for them to be misused, and that's bad.
Yeah. Well, there's always a potential. It's kind of like, well, it's right off the height of terrorism. So everyone was like, no, this sounds fucking fantastic. We can spy on terrorist organizations. We don't have to get a specific warrant to do it, or the warrant standards to get the actual FISA application are very small. And so that way we're not blocked by we're not cucked by our own constitution or laws to spy on terrorists, which is good. I like that. The only problem is, well, we found Trump was then tied up into this because Trump was talking with Russian officials and stuff like that during 2015 to kind of gauge. All presidents do this. All presidents kind of talk with the world stage and kind of muster out, hey, these are the relationships I'm going to have to, keep with people like Putin, Xi, all the other diplomats and stuff like that. So it's just crazy that I guess this wasn't Trump's bread and butter because they used it against him.
Yeah, I'd agree. That's messed up. I can't really say why he would have done it. I could speculate a bunch of different reasons, and some of them might be spot on, but we wouldn't really know unless he said so.
And then plus, all it takes is like, if there's someone that's in his circle, especially like someone like Marco Rubio, who's done better as time's gone on, but it's like if they're feeding him information like, no, we need this, if we want to get the deportation down, this is the best effort to do it, and not give him the full details of why this could be a huge problem for Republicans later on if Democrats get their hands on it. Trump's probably going to look at it and be like, you know what, you're right. If this is my last term and I need to accomplish this deportation, maybe, I'll lay down with the devil a little bit or lay down with a dog and get a little bit of fleas, but it'll justify my last term in getting this deportation done.
Yeah, I don't know if Trump is too concerned what happens outside of his current term.
Well, we'll see. I thought about that, and then I'm not so sure. I think actually he does in a small extent, because I would say I think he wants to groom Rubio, and he wants to groom people like Vance, and he wants to be the kingmaker for, in case he lives on past this, he wants his legacy to then be followed by a generation of Republicans. Like, I think Trump is thinking bigger picture. I don't think it's fair to just say Trump's thinking about this term, nothing. Because if he was, then the whole Iran situation doesn't really make sense. Like, why not just ignore Iran, build up your economy? Well, because he's thinking down the road. He's thinking, okay, I can sacrifice the PR right now if we can resolve this Iran stuff for later down the road.
I don't know. Maybe. Like, I think he cares about legacy, but I think he truly thought Iran would be like a one and done, like in and out Venezuela thing. I don't think he expected Iran to be. So I thought, so I agree with you that he thought it would be like, okay, I'll take some short-term PR damage, but I thought he was thinking, oh, within a month we'll wrap this out, we'll fucking get her done, and then that didn't end up happening.
I mean, and that could be true too, but I know that with Iran, like taking down Iran is going to do a lot of like unknowing damage to China, and I think that was kind of the long play of why Trump was like, okay, Netanyahu's kind of being a little shit, and he's not really listening to the plan, and so if I can jump in and actually take down Iran, I think that does a lot of damage to China, and if you do a lot of damage to China, that's pretty much are one competition on the world stage. And any damage we can do to China is going to do a lot of beneficial things for us later on down the road. That's why the tariffs make sense. Because the tariffs was a huge PR loss. But I think it was for 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road, as long as he could have this kingmaker status of getting Rubio elected, getting Vance elected, getting his people in, so that way they can continue a similar policy.
Okay, I guess secondary question: do you think he's right on any of that? Do you think? I don't think history is going to look favorably on what Trump's done. Like in 10 years, I don't think people are going to be like, "Yeah, that guy was so great." Like so. This is a separate point, but I think he's like miscalculating like the type of legacy he's leaving behind. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
To be fair, I don't think I think no matter what Trump does, history is not gonna look favorably on him. But I think there are some aspects in where he's doing the right thing. I think whichever president we would have gotten besides Trump, who would have put in the tariffs or like justified, hey, these countries are taking advantage of us. We need to correct ourselves on the world stage. We can't be being abused by all these smaller countries. I think no matter what, they were going to get the short end of the stick. And I think Democrats have a very good job controlling certain institutions that no matter what Trump does, even if he was just like Obama, he probably would have got a bad image and wouldn't be favored in history the way he is. But I think to some extent that's kind of how Reagan was for a while. For a while, people didn't really like Reagan. And I think now that we've gotten to the 2000s and the 2020s, I think people are starting to turn around and kind of respect Reagan a lot more than he was back in like the 90s and stuff like that.
Yeah, possibly.
Because the weird thing is the presidents who don't do anything get really good reputations. Like JFK. JFK did a couple of things right and had a short administration, and everyone remembers him as the king of presidents. Like even Republicans will probably not diminish JFK's legacy, even though it's a very short legacy.
But that's also probably because of the whole assassination thing, right? Like,
yeah, and probably the foreign policy. So he was kind of the guy being like, "What the fuck are we doing with this anti-communist bullshit?" And now, not all of it was bullshit, but kind of you start getting in the Bay of Pigs. You start getting into how we were trying to trick Americans into justifying certain wars and stuff like that. And JFK was like, "Nah, I don't know about that. This seems fucking weird to me." And some of it was weird. Some of it, I guess, you could probably justify it in some weird sense. And I don't know. It just seems like the shorter the presidency, the better the results are for you. Because is it not one of the Roosevelts? No. Who had the 4-term stint?
I don't know.
The only president to run for 4 terms.
I think it was Roosevelt.
I just can't remember.
I think it might have been.
There's 2 Roosevelts, though, right? There's the one with glasses. That was stricken with polio, and there was the Teddy. Not Teddy, but the other one. The one that was stricken with polio. Served 4 terms, like leading up into the World War II.
Franklin Roosevelt, says Brett. Does that sound right?
Yeah. That sounds right. I think he should be, I guess, ranked a lot higher in, I guess, where he's ranked in most presidential polls. But I think Americans
FDR,
having 16 years of a single president, there's so much just dirt on him that it just ruins your reputation the longer you're president. And Trump being, the odd man out, he's gonna get the bad reputation no matter what.
See, okay, I kind of agree with what Let's Chief is saying here. Soda must be high for this Reagan Renaissance take. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like even myself, I feel like the more economic data I look at, the more I start to think, I think Reagan might be the one that fucked everything up. Like when you look at like the cost of housing and when everything changed and stuff. And
Well, no,
so I
I
feel like a lot of
agree.
Republicans were like, yeah, trickle down economics, even though I know that's like the pejorative way to say it and all this stuff. Like, okay, this shit is actually cocked. But there was a time when everyone was like, okay, no, this will work. You just gotta trust.
Yeah.
And now I feel like people are looking at it and they're like, wait, back in the day, people could like have a single person working, and they could own like, you know, a nice car and go on vacation every year and pay off their house and all this stuff, and that's just impossible. And that really seemed to change with the Reagan administration. So I feel like if anything, more people are being blackpilled on them.
Well, I guess let me see if I can't correct the record. I think Reagan is a horrible president, but I think even in the 2000s and 2020s, he gets a lot more admiration from the right, especially Trump and on. 2016 and on, I would say he gets ungodly amount of recognition for being a good president, even though I think he was a probably D-, D+ president at best. I think there's a lot of things he fucked up. I think he fucked up the whole China shit. I think he fucked up.
Yeah, he really fucked that up.
I think there's probably even more that I'm just not remembering at the time. Like he did a lot of damage, but a lot of people remember him as kind of the Trumpian figure. And so when Trump got elected and Trump starting to harp back to these the Reagan era, I'm like, nah, I'm not a big fan of the Reagan era, because I think he's probably remembered a lot more for the collapse of the Soviet Union and the tear down this wall, and so he gets this weird like hype as a good president, even though honestly any president who was, I guess, president at the time of the collapse of the USSR would have gotten credit for it. It's not like Reagan did some special thing or did something very unique to take down the USSR. I think a lot of it was just kind of massive spending that we tried to trick the Soviet Union into crippling themselves. I don't know. But I would agree with Leshki. I don't think Reagan's that good of a president.
Yeah, now Confluence. Now have we changed subjects? Now can I ask my question?
Oh boy.
Fine, Kirk.
Please,
what's your
please.
question?
Okay, so my question is: have you ever heard of the universal approximation theorem?
No.
Okay, so the universal approximation theorem says that for any, I think it's something like for any bounded continuous function, a neural network can approximate it to any arbitrary degree of accuracy, and it's based on something called the Hahn-Banach theorem, and which is itself based on something called Zorn's lemma, and it's related to set theory and functional analysis.
Kirk, even the way you explain stuff is like not, you understand how it's not helpful to say it's related to, like if you thought I know the thing that's related to, then it makes sense to say this is related to that. But otherwise you're just saying stuff that's like not aiding at all, and it's just like anything making it more confusing. This is just a little.
You made it more.
But anyway, sorry, I just have to do I had to do my intellectual onanism. I've been interested in like geometric quantum machine learning recently. But anyway, I do gotta get going for now. I'll probably be back on later.
Oh, so you literally just did come to jerk off onto the panel.
Yeah. Good night.
He said, "Yeah."
Ban that man. Confluence ban.
Confluence. He admitted it.
He did admit it.
He admitted it.
He didn't even really wait for an answer to the question. He just basically, he just basically said the question and left.
Well, no, if you want to answer it, you can. But anyway, do you have an answer?
But you don't even want. I think that just shows you don't even want the answer.
I do want the answer. Just give the answer and then I'll move on.
No, you were gonna leave. You said I'll talk to you later,
Okay.
and then
the answer is you don't. So the answer is you don't know. Good night, Confluence.
See, Kirk was caught in 4K. Kirk was caught in 4K. He forgot to even pretend that he wanted an answer to the question.
Good night, Confluence.
Good night, Kirk.
That boy needs an ego death.
That boy needs.
He needs to start paying donos for changing the subject. Everyone in YouTube chat has to pay if they want to switch the subject like that. He's the only one that doesn't have to.
That's true.
Yeah.
It has to be relative to the topic or
Drive-by
connected.
debate great.
Otherwise,
for
he has to
real.
pay for it. Yeah.
I feel violated right now.
Well, Confluence allows it. You gotta stop allowing that.
Yeah,
Don't get
Kirk
worked.
should start his own live stream where he invites people to come on his panels and he asks them all these stupid fucking questions and confuses them. He could do that all day long and he'd get all his fucking attention that he wants to. He's hijacking your stream to ask random shit that has nothing to do with any of the topics we're talking about, just so he can intellectually jerk off on everyone, and it's just ridiculous.
At least
And
I
he
think
doesn't
we.
even
At
pay you
least I
anything
think
for
we.
it. Has
At least
he
I think
ever
we caught
donated?
him. No, he's never donated. But at least I think we caught
Exactly.
him in the act of asking a question and then forgetting to even pretend that he wants an answer because he was literally about to leave. And I was like, "Wait, Kirk, I didn't even answer the question." I think that
Wait.
kind of proves it. I think you fucked up.
Did he even
Hey,
ask
Dusty.
a question? What's the answer to that?
I actually don't even know
Is
if
it-
he
is
asked
it-
the question. He just said, "I'm interested in
it
this, and
yes
it's
or
related to
no, or-
this." I'm actually not sure.
Because it's like he asks a question, have you heard about it? And then he just fucking tells you a statement.
Well, he did ask something about like machine learning and neural networks, but he didn't really clarify what the question was supposed to be. He kind of asked it in a weird ass way, and then listed a whole bunch of things that the information is related to, and that kind of throws off the question because it's not part of the question.
I thought I'd have to go back and listen, but I thought he said, "Have you heard of this?" And I said no, and he said it's related to this. It's related to this. And then I was like, "Well, this doesn't really help if you say it's related." And he said, "Well, I've just been interested in
Yeah.
spherical machine learning, blah blah blah." Anyway, goodbye. So I don't know if there was
Yeah,
a question
exactly.
besides like, "Have you heard of this?" at the beginning, and then he just went on to talk about something, and then didn't ask a question and left.
That's the question. The question is, have you heard about it? And then he fucking jerks off on you.
Yeah,
And it's like, well,
yes.
damn, Kurt. I would live in New York City if I wanted this to happen.
Yeah.
You have to ride the subway in New York if you want to get jerked off on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't even avoid it at this point.
Yeah, it's true. Kirk's not even a channel member, Brent. That's the thing. He doesn't, Kirk is just jerking off for literally free, okay? At least freaking pay me.
Probably doesn't even
for
hit
it.
like on your videos, fucker.
He probably doesn't. He probably doesn't.
Yeah. You know what? I'm thinking you're not giving him that trivia winning role. I'm thinking
Yeah,
you're taking that back.
He ain't gonna watch your 10-second blueberry frog video, but yet
Right.
he's gonna demand that you answer his question.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I think you shouldn't give it to him anyway because he offered you a fucking win-win. Don't give him the title, meaning save yourself some work, and he'll never fucking show up on your panels again. Well, that's a fucking win-win if you ask me. Don't threaten me with a good time, Kurt.
Is
we
Kirk
know
even
that's not gonna fucking
subscribed?
last.
That is a good question. Is Kirk even subscribed to the channel? I'm not sure.
Only so that way your videos pop up, so that way he can click onto them and ask you a question.
Yeah, he probably has that bell turned on because he'll show up pretty fast so he can ask his question.
Okay, Confluence. Fill me in. What were you and Les Chief talking about? Because I've read a little bit of it, but like it got to a point to where I don't want to scroll back through all the messages. So kind of give me a rundown. What was the religion tab Discord conversation about?
There's a few things. It started with some discussion about Taoism and stuff, and then it was kind of talking about
Told you.
almost what we were talking about. And I think I mentioned you, Big Soda. Do you remember when I was asking like what do you think is like a good like daily practice and stuff, and section I think was there too. And I was saying about and you said, well, you engage with this a lot because you're talking about this stuff each day, and I was like, yeah, but sometimes I wonder if that's just like if I'm going off of fumes and this is just like an intellectual thing and it's kind of like lacking that experiential stuff. And so he was saying that his critique is obviously more against Christianity, but he was saying that like there's Christians will come on and they'll almost be getting something from this and think that they're then doing something good, but they're actually just like feeding that ego, feeding that like that intellectual part. I don't know if I'm framing this correct, but yeah, let's you say you can link you the main message.
Okay.
And then there was also talk about agnosticism and stuff, and he's like, well, agnostics get shit on, but really it's like they're the ones that are being at least honest about it, and Christians get to feel like morally superior because they're like, well, I do know the answer to all this stuff. And so there's like a few things being talked about, but
I disagree with that. I think it's the atheists that get shit on. The agnostics, at least Christians can be like, okay, well, at least you say you don't know. But atheists are literally claiming it doesn't exist. And it's like, well, now you're just fucking wrong. But yeah,
That's-
we're gonna
yeah,
dunk
that's-
on you.
Yeah, that's true. I do think atheists get way more shit on than agnostics do.
Well, the weird thing about agnostic, I feel like Jesus, or now from the parts of the Bible that I can draw from off the top of my head, it seems like agnostic it seems like they get a worse rap from Jesus than actually the people who just deny it outright. It seems like the people who deny it outright, okay, yeah, we know what's going to happen to them, but the people who sit on the fence, it seems like there's a lot of scripture that talks about those type of people specifically, and how it's going to be very bad for them because of the fact they sat on the fence.
Right, like the whole I wish you were hot and cold when he's taught in Revelations when Christ is talking to whatever church that's in, and he said, "I will spit you out because you're lukewarm." You beta cock. That's in the Confluence translation, but.
Yep.
I say not a critique of Christianity. My prescription is baked into Christianity. It's how people practice on vibes and preferences. So I offered a guide rail of Taoism as being ideal for the Christian who wants to worship the highest. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I think there was some critiques of Christians, I suppose, not maybe Christianity in general, but yeah, of how sometimes Christians will. And I mean, I worry about that. I worry about how. Because like I said, this is something I said that I notice in myself. I have a tendency, I think, to like focus more on the intellectual side. This is what I realized with like theology. It's like, in some ways, there's a bit of danger to it because you can almost like trick yourself into thinking that like you're doing the praxis, you're doing the work because you spend so much time reading about theology and intellectualizing it. But at the end of the day, it's like, in some ways, yeah, if you didn't do any of that, then you would at least be keenly aware that like, oh, I'm not living life how I actually should be. I'm not doing enough praxis. But because you're doing theology, you almost get to trick yourself into being like, well, I'm thinking about this so much, and I'm thinking about God. I'm talking about God, and it's like that's not the same as like trying to be in God's presence or like interact with God, right? Like. Infallible vibes fluence, absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think about that, Big Soda? Can't I make this jump now? What the hell? But yeah, this is kind of like, yeah, I guess like similar to the Thomas Aquinas stuff that we were talking about like, yeah, Grows writing the Summa Theologica, and then, you know, once he has his actual experience, he, you know, calls it all straw. And so I think he was like, maybe he was still seeking, which was good. But I think the danger, yeah, there's a danger in theology, because both, again, I can recognize this in myself, and I think I've seen it in other people. Probably because I was doing a degree in theology, so it's a very common thing where it's like, yeah, you end up just studying this stuff so much that it starts to become deeply impersonal. And and you don't notice it because you're like, well, I'm spending so much time thinking about God. And it's like, yeah, but thinking about God and becoming one with God are like not the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
And we can apply that. I always think about like thinking about that with a marriage example. It's like, if you just like talked about your wife, or you just like spend time learning facts about your wife, right? That's not the same as spending time with your wife. That's not the same as actually getting to know your wife on an intimate level. That's the important part, right? Like everything else, sure, it's good. It's good to know facts about your wife, and it's good to talk about your wife, but those are not replacements for like knowing your actual wife, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like you can talk about how good your wife is and how great your wife is all the time, but if you're not actually conversating with her or creating that relational depth, then like eventually that's going to cause problems with your relationship. Because yes, you may give her all the compliments in the world and talk so highly of her, but if you're not actually talking to her, then how deep is that relationship? And it's the same with God.
Right. And there's a song I've posted in Discord before. I think it's an amazing song. It's by the band Me Without You. And it's this analogy of like, it's these like fucking beetles, if I'm remembering right. And these beetles see like this fire, and they're trying to figure out what it is the idea. And so like the king beetle, he like sends different people to like figure out what the fire is. And like when they come back, they each it's like an allegory, obviously, with the fire being God and like the beetles being like people. And it's like one beetle goes back and he like gives a good description of it, and then the king gets mad and he's like, I don't want to know what it's like, I want to know what it is. And each one is kind of giving these perspectives, and it ends with the king himself. He's like, fuck all this gay shit. Not a direct quote. And he just like flies into the fire. And because he's like done with the intellectualization of it, he doesn't want to know what it's like. He doesn't want to hear analogies. He wants like the actual experience. And then the end of the song is like the refrain, like, why not be utterly changed into fire? Which is such a good fucking, it's a really good song. It's a really good song. And I think it's accurate. It's like, yeah, it's like, who cares about, yeah, like at the end of the day, like, yeah, I don't want to just know facts about God, or just like, oh, God's omnipotent and God, like those are good things to know, but like compared to like the actual experiential knowledge of God, it's like who gives a shit? Who actually gives a shit, you know? And that's why I think Jesus himself, right, spends like Paul maybe does more of the theology, but Jesus himself, there's very little like care, it seems, given to like the correct like orthodoxy. I'm not trying to like say anything heretical, but it's just like when you actually listen to how Jesus is talking, right? It's more about, he doesn't seem that concerned about the orthodoxy. He seems much more concerned with the orthopraxy, like how you ought to live, how you ought to interact with God, all of this stuff, right?
Well, I think to me, it seems like his biggest thing is, if we had to rank them of what Christians should do, the number one thing should be your relationship with him and God the Father. It seems like your relationship with God should be the utmost priority, and everything else can fall in line.
Right. It's like, that's why it's like when they talk about like the greatest commandments, right? Christ says to love God and love your neighbor. It's like he doesn't give them this doxology, you know? He doesn't give them this list of points. And I think that's something that like, yeah, like in Protestantism, we're like almost obsessed with like, you know, like, and I'm not saying we shouldn't be, like, I get it, but like, there's almost like this obsession with like, yeah, these finer theological points, you know, and like, are you saying the right words? Are you believing the right stuff? And I don't know if that's like super well matched to like how the Bible treats things. I mean, I was saying before, right, how I think it was to Brett, about how it's like, we don't have this like scripture. We have a scripture that's like written right in 3 languages by like dozens of authors over the course of 2,000 years, with like a lot of different styles. There's like poetry, there's, you know, there's allegory, there's literal history. It's like this like blend of everything. We don't have a Quran, so it's like, but then the church that resulted from this is just an obsession with orthodoxy, right? With like piecing it all together, with creating, and it's like, and I that stuff is important. I do think it's important, but it's not like, it's not the main thing. And I think we're missing the forest for the trees, or the map for the territory, as I think I was saying to Les Chief, when we're like focusing on those like intellectual things. I'm streaming for like a few hours still, Rage.
I don't think the Orthodox Church has quite hit the threshold of the Pharisees, but I think it's a similar type argument. I think when Jesus in Matthew, he gives out, you know, his 7 woes, and it's specifically about, you know, people with authority in the church, or people, I guess this would be authority in the temple, because I guess Jesus hasn't founded his church yet, but it's kind of one of those things, people get so ornery around the doctrine and stuff like that they lose, like you said, they lose the sight through the trees, because they're trying to focus on the individual tree and making sure it's preserved, but they're missing the whole forest. And it's kind of, you start to get so, I guess, precautious to every idea around Christ that you get to a point to where you're like, well, you're not a Christian, or you're not a practicing Jew, or you're not the Messiah, and stuff like that. And so you end up suffering from the same thing that you thought you were protecting.
Right.
And that's why I'm Protestant. That's why I haven't fully committed to Orthodoxy. It's because I feel like there's a certain threshold. Like, once you start labeling people as not Christian because they're not a part of the church, I think you get to that Pharisee type argument, to where Oh well, let's back up now because now we're saying that people aren't followers of Christ, which is I guess what Christian means. Followers are the way, and so it just to me that seems very Pharisee coded.
Yeah, it seems to go in that direction more than I'm comfortable with.
And but I think me and Confluence we both agree that the problem with our own theology and that we're able to admit is you get people like Maryland. You get people like was it the Jim Jones or the yeah, you get these situations to where there's people that are so far from the actual truth and so far away from Jesus that they start doing irreparable damage toward actually their belief, and so it starts to corrode them as a person because they've become so loose with their scripture. Why I think you still have to, even as a Protestant, you still have to hold to the Christian fathers. You have to understand why they are as ornery as they are. You have to understand why 2,000 years of trying to protect the truth can lead you down this very rigid and destructive path. The same way the Jews are. I mean, I would say the same applies with the Jews. They've been attacked for so long that they're willing to crack a few eggs to make sure that they protect this truth that they know.
Yeah. I think, it's like, I guess each one, has their own risks.
Yeah.
Like each one, the Protestant, but I guess not, okay, I'm gonna piss, obviously, the Orthodox people off by saying this, but not all risks are equal, and I guess this is maybe why you're saying that you're a Protestant, and that's why I'm a Protestant, because even though I see that as a risk, and we know about the Unitarian Church, and we know about the United Church, and we know about Maryland. People can just go off in all sorts of directions. But for me, if I'm gonna lean on one, because this is something that I've even seen because I've been in way more Catholic churches than I've been to an Eastern Orthodox church one time, or I've been to Catholic churches a ton of times, and that's just something. It just seems. I understand it's anecdotal, but it's something I've seen so often where it's the Catholics, they go, they sit there. And it's and I like ritual, I like tradition, but it makes it very easy to just you do the thing and you're not really focused on it at all. Whereas when you go to most Protestant Bible believing churches, the people there at least care about it. They care about it. They're locked in on the sermons. They're talking about it. They're doing their worship music. They're even if I think there's stuff maybe wrong in with that too. I have
What are you F-slurs doing in here?
Hi Tyler, we're we're live because you said F-slur instead of the real thing, but And let's see, ConCon 27 will be happening, 2027, okay? I don't know about Louisiana, but
Yeah, Louisiana's a little sketchy. They've got a very high crime rate, and depending on which area you pick.
Oh, that's true. New Orleans is the worst homicide rate, I think, in America, I'm pretty sure.
Actually, no, I think there's a place in Alabama. I think there's a place in Alabama per 100,000 that is slightly worse. I think
New
Alabama
Orleans is 50 per 100,000, which is mental.
Let me look it up. Most murders per capita in the U.S. Oh no, you're still right.
Oakland, right?
No, it's New Orleans. It's New Orleans, Memphis, St. Louis, Baltimore. I thought there was a place in Alabama that was slightly worse.
See, and probably half of those murders are caused by Rage Page, if you think about it. So she's really bumping those numbers up.
Well, what most Democrats will not want you to admit, this seems to be. I mean, now I understand cities have a lot of people in them, so you put a lot of people around each other, they tend to murder each other. But it's weird that a lot of these places have fucking Democrat-run areas.
Oh, can I ask you a question? What were those top 5 cities again?
Well, okay, see, I'm getting conflicting results because it says New Orleans with 46, Tennessee with 41, St. Louis with 38, Baltimore with 36, and then I asked, well, where does Alabama rank? Alabama, it says it ranks as a state 3rd nationally. So I guess if you factor in the whole state of Alabama, it's third.
Could you juxtapose two lists for me? One being the most violent murder states, and the other being the most black per capita, and tell me what the results are.
I was gonna say, if only we had Kirk here to talk about the urban people and how that's the issue.
Now, take this with a grain of salt, because I am typing this on Gemini. Okay, I've got the top 5. I've got South Fulton, which I think is in Georgia, but it also says Georgia and then Jacksonville, or South Fulton and Jacksonville, Mississippi. So South Fulton being in Georgia and Jacksonville being in Mississippi have the highest
Georgia,
per capita. And then
is that murder rates or black?
Oh wait! Hey, it's cooking me. We've got DC at 44.9%. We've got Mississippi at 37.9%. We've got Louisiana in third with 33%. We've got Georgia.
Of the population is black?
Yeah.
But how is it that high in DC? That can't be true.
It says according to regional tracking.
DC's that black?
Yep. One of the least vaccinated places in the country during COVID as well, because
I never knew that. I thought it was.
You
like
hear all about MAGA.
Black.
No, you heard about MAGA denying the COVID vaccine, but that was only like 10 to 20% of the Trump voting base. Whereas the black community was like something like 40 to 50% at one point were vaccinated in like 2022. I think it got better as time went on, but
no, listen to this. I'm about to throw you off to a fucking loop. Just guess the percentage of black population in South Fulton, Georgia.
80.
Well, I'm from Georgia. Well, not from, but I was living in Georgia for 10 years. I'd say it's about 45, 50%.
We're just talking about the specific city of South Fulton.
80.
Yeah. They're not Georgia as a whole.
It's got
yeah, well, Georgia's like in the 30s, so I would have to say it has to be higher. And if DC's in the 48, it has to be higher than 48. So I'm going with 60.
93.3%.
Holy shit! I thought I was crazy by saying 80.
The second highest is Detroit, Michigan at 76 to 80%. That's fucking crazy. Okay, to be fair, I don't remember the Black Wall Street stuff, and I don't remember which specific town or county it was in. And if that county just so happens to be near the South Fulton area, that makes sense. But 93.3% is fucking insane for, let's say, at best, 15% of the population of America.
I lived in Atlanta.
Oh wait, that's not like okay.
Yeah, I put 90% in before you said that.
see, bro, 93% is insane.
Yeah, so the argument from the Democrats was that 80% of inner city jails are black people, and I'm like, yeah, but 80% of inner cities are usually black. So it's
a little more spread out than that in the inner city. A lot of Hispanics and whites live in the inner city as well.
Well, they actually include Latin and black in the metric. But my point is that it's statistics. It's not racism. More people.
So Tyler, if we were judging off your one criteria, three out of the 5 states, or 3 out of the 5 highest city populations of black people are the highest in murder per capita.
I did the top 10, and it looks like at least the top 3, top 4. No, Georgia is not top 10 in murder rate, actually. So there's one.
Wait, are you doing city or are you doing?
I'm doing states. I'm doing states.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in cities, the only state or the only city that isn't, I believe, in the top 10 is Detroit, and I think South Georgia, Jacksonville, Mississippi, Birmingham, Alabama, and Tennessee all are in the top 10 of the murder.
Out of all the top 10 blackest states in the country, only 3 of them are not in the top 10 murder rates of the country. So 7 of the top 10 blackest states are also the top murderous states in the country. So
Let's
Yeah,
see. I'm
generally,
curious on what you guys mean by this.
Its state is too broad, though. That's the problem. You can't use that metric at all.
yeah,
Okay.
that's fair, I guess. But
So-
it's pretty obvious, let's Chief, isn't it?
Well, here, let me state it for the record. Black people love living next to murderers.
No, black people have a younger demographic.
no.
Black people are a younger
on.
demographic and much more susceptible to be prone to crime because they have a higher percentage of males between the ages of 16 and 20. I think it was 28. I don't remember the exact number of like
Yeah.
when. Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
close to
plus-
that.
28.
Plus, well, like it or not, most groups in general like to self-segregate. It's just kind of how it happens. And so if you have less family nuclei, family focus, you're going to have more young men not having active fathers. That's just a fact. And fathers do a much better job at reining shit in with a kid if they're in the house.
Just remember, though, if any Democrat ever says the southern states are full of stupid people, look at their education. That's a racist dog whistle.
Yeah, it's crazy because I think Georgia ranks up there pretty high in their lack of education. I think they're in the top 5.
Testy says Central Park 5 are innocent. So was OJ. Thank you for the $2, Testy. You really derailed things yesterday with that $2 super chat. Okay, but not gonna.
He
happen
might have had
today.
me if he just said Central Park 5. I would have taken that bait. But since he included OJ, I'm like, okay, that's trolling, and I like it.
Yeah, yesterday was
Yeah,
just the Central Park
They
5. He knows
can't
that's gonna make me mad.
I needed your resources because, man, when I looked up the Central 5, I just kept getting to dead end after dead end. Now, I
Yeah,
spent probably
yeah.
about 2 hours looking it up, and so that's not really enough time to really get in the weeds. But, man, the AI was feeding me fucking dead end after dead
Yeah,
end.
the AI does not want to. Yeah, does not want to like. Unironically, it does not want to tell you what actually went down.
Because you brought, like, the short conversation we had about it, the shit you brought up, never mentioned. Never mentioned. I think the craziest thing about the case is the fact that all of them testified, which I'm pretty sure. I guess the argument would be that they were held against their will and forced to testify. And the next closest thing is the fact that they were already assaulting and harassing people at the park.
Yeah.
I think one of them had the blood of the actual victim that died on them, but I don't think they had anything to tie them to the actual murder, and that was
No.
the fucked up part, that like they overcharged them.
The only DNA that they had found was of Michael or Matthias Rees, the actual, I guess, person that admitted to it in prison or whatever. That was the only DNA that they found in the actual victim.
Yeah, I think they found the victim's DNA on one of the 5 guys from the Central Park 5. If I'm not
The
mistaken,
problem,
it's been a while.
you know
though.
what the biggest outrage was. The reason why people went nuts is because people were, obviously socially declaring them guilty, and they felt like that was the bigger injustice. But it's like always the American way. Regardless of what we say, you're guilty until proven innocent. It's just reality.
I don't think so. There's a lot of people like that. Usually, what I've
They
noticed
did.
is if
That's
you
why
align with
Trump
you
got so
politically.
much shit.
Well, if they
That's why
align with you
Trump-
politically, if for Republicans they didn't think that way, they were like Trump's innocent until proven guilty, and then blah 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 for the other side. But like Joe Biden, the credible accusations of Tara Reid, those got completely those were dismissed from day one. Graham Plattner had like multiple women come out and talk about him, and it wasn't good enough until the woman that came out was a Democrat. Oh, she agrees with his politics, so she must be sincere.
Yeah, no, there's definitely part of that.
Well, the interesting thing, Tyler, I think next conspiracy theory we're gonna do the JFK assassination.
Oh my God!
Oh right,
Isn't that overdone?
Not to us, it ain't.
We
did a
I
9/11 one, okay? So
I personally think that it was more about Bobby than it was about Jackie, but because Bobby had more of a axe to grind with the CIA and with just everybody in general. Like he was the one that was stirring shit up.
I mean, there are some weird anomalies, like kind of. So when JFK was doing his little, he was going to different states and doing his little parade, kind of like how he did in, I believe it's Texas when he was finally shot. He did one in Chicago where he had a credible threat against him, assassination attempt, and they continued the tour, which I thought was weird to me because it's one of those things where
you mean like they did with Trump?
Yeah. But but it's like imagine Trump's on a let's say 8-state tour where he's doing this parade around and someone tries to take a shot at him and misses. Do you think he's still going to do that tour? Like that shit would have been shut down immediately.
Yeah, there was a different male dynamic back then.
Yeah.
Like, there was a much more braver factor than there is today.
Yeah, it's kind of like, for all I know, JFK was like, nah, fuck it, let's keep going. They're not gonna hit me.
Yeah, well, they just think you had, what's crazy. What's crazy though is
I'm reading his chat real quick. I'm reading Let's Chief's chat. I will flat out say what you think we're backing off on. Black people are significantly more violent and murderous than white people in the United States.
Yeah, they would say it's more crime related and poverty related than it was anything else. But whatever. I mean, maybe whatever.
Yeah. Oh wow, Kirk joined. He heard us talking about it. He was like,
I summoned him.
Did the Kirk whistle instead of a dog whistle, and Kirk's like, "What?
Wait! I didn't even hear you were talking about me. I just joined because chess club for me was canceled tonight because my friends canceled.
The sentence I just finished was black people are significantly more violent.
Jerk off on them.
I mean, that is statistically true.
Yeah, well, we were talking about why, and I said it's because it's generally a younger demographic, so you're going to see more violent crime rates from them. That's one.
Yeah, but do you think it's just the youngness? I think it's more family related.
Yeah, there's also cultural aspects, and absolutely. Yeah, it's one that flows under the radar. I feel like.
Yeah. I would say it's culture related, it's family related, it's environment related. I mean, I think black people are more prone to live in bigger cities. I think bigger cities are more prone to have violence. And so I think the biggest thing would probably be family, but I wouldn't be shocked if the bigger component was actually culture.
Yeah, well, that goes hand in hand a little bit.
Yeah, no, you're right. And probably more than just a little bit, because it's like, I mean, I think if the fatherhood rate was higher, I don't think the culture would be as bad as it is. And so I think the family element kind of plays into the culture.
It's almost like when I was living in Atlanta, one of the guys told me that, he had a single mom, and he told me that his mom, I was asking him why, because I was just asking, they're my friends, and I'm like, why is it that, it seems like African American women are a lot more aggressive and act very manly in the way that they deal with people. They're very aggressive. And he said, you got to understand, man, a lot of us didn't grow up with our dads. And so the moms had to play dad and mom. And so the moms raised the women in you can't rely on your man. And so that it created this continuous thing. Well, imagine being a boy being raised by a woman that's so domineering. You know what I mean? So like when a man becomes of age, he's like wanting to prove his manhood and rise above a feminist structure. And it comes out sideways out in society.
Well, see, Brett, I grew up with a single mom. And by the time I was 16, my mom would tell me things I ought not do. And to me, I was able to justify them because I felt I was the man. And I felt like even though I was entering myself in a bad situation, I felt that I could be in control of that bad situation, which kind of led me to not listen to her. And so it's kind of like, well, I'm like, yeah, I know she's worrying for me. I know she wants the best for me. But, you know, I know how to take care of myself. I know.
Well,
I've
young men
got
are full of piss and
fears
vinegar
stuff.
oftentimes, even when there is a father present. So I don't know like how
Yeah, but the
much
father-
gravitas that has on it.
Yeah, but dude, my father slapped the shit out of me one time when I got too big for my britches, and it took me several years before I tried his ass again.
Also, the
Yeah.
whole lack of fatherhood. I don't know this. I'm not necessarily standing up, more just saying like this is the reality of it. Because there is a welfare state, there is some truth to the fact that it does split up the black family, and that there's not
Absolutely.
husbands, but there's still
100%.
fathers in the home. Something like 70% of black
Sometimes, yeah.
families have a father in the home.
Yeah,
they just
but
don't
it's
get
like-
married so they can collect a bigger check.
Yeah, but it's like a meaning crisis. If a man doesn't feel like he has value or he's contributing to it, and they're just basically utilizing and abusing a check system, how do you feel like you're a man? You know what I mean? And I was gonna ask Soda. I would bet your mom wasn't a very manly mom.
No.
That's what I mean. Can you imagine being raised by a domineering
Oh,
mom that plays the father role? You know, I think it does something to a male psyche unknowingly.
The biggest problem with my mom specifically is the fact that she would punish me, and then within 3-4 hours, she would come in there like a sob story and be like, "Oh, I think I was too hard on you," blah blah blah. No, I needed that. I needed that hard punishment. I needed that guidance, and it's almost like, to some extent, my actions were the reason I was doing the things I was doing is because I kind of wanted that guidance in a subliminal way. But it's like if my mom, you know, every 3 hours after getting on to me just came in and apologized and shit like that, what lesson am I gonna learn? I'm like, oh, she was in the wrong. I wasn't in the wrong. She was in the wrong.
Yeah.
Big Soda, I thought you've talked about your dad before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, see, me and my dad, we grew a relationship, or we've always had a relationship, but I think my mom and my dad got divorced and separated when I was 8 years old. And so I grew up with my teenage years just with my mom. But I knew my dad, and I was casual with my dad, you know. But my dad acted more as a friend. But then when I had when he had his first grandchild, and I had my first son, that's when he started we would bond more together. And so when I had my second child, my daughter, he was taking part of that, you know, that grandparent thing, and so we would bond more together. But I lost him back in 2022, I think, or 2023, and so it's like, it eats me alive. That's kind of me having a daughter is kind of what helped bond me with my dad, because since he wasn't the father figure in my household, we never developed that father-son type relationship. It was always the casual friend relationship. And so once I had my granddaughter, that's when we started to develop that actual father-son bond, and then I didn't have him too much longer after that.
Yeah,
Not to depress. I'm not trying to depress everybody.
My dad went through the same thing. My dad had it out with his dad, and they were distant for a long time. And it was primarily because my dad divorced my dad's mom, and then she had cancer and died. And it was like, my dad kind of felt like, you're a dick, you know?
Yeah.
And so they distanced. And then when they had me and my brother, my dad got sober, and then he was trying to work on the relationship and mend it, you know. But by then I had already kind of grown up a little bit without a grandfather, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I did have a dad that stepped up to the plate and got sober and tried to right the train on his own without.
Not a stepdad, the dad that stepped up.
Well, I was going to say, see, that's what I never had. My mom had a tendency to date people that were similar to my dad, and my dad wasn't the greatest dad in the world, at least not for most of my childhood. And so I never had a stepdad growing up. If it wasn't for my grandfather, I don't know how the fuck I would have turned out. Like, because since the time I was like, my mom and them separated. If I didn't have my grandfather, I probably wouldn't be here today. I'd probably be some soft leftist cuck that was fucking.
I don't
doing
know. No,
gay
I think
shit.
you'd be even more right wing if you had a father that was present and upper middle class and sent you to a college. That's how you turn into a leftist.
True. But it's like I guess that's a fair point. But I don't know. Like it's a lot of the shit that I learned about being a dad came from my grandfather. And to be fair, it probably wasn't enough because I needed that in my household. I needed to experience that every day. It only started to kick in when I was actually paying bills, being responsible, and then I was able to see, oh, my grandfather does this for the whole family. And so I have, if I want to be in that position, then I have to do that because no one else in my family is gonna fucking do that. So if I don't do that, then when my grandfather passes away, we no longer have that family structure like we used to have. And so it kind of kicked me into gear to get my shit together.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that you're able to recognize that, the value you had in them, I think some people don't recognize it at all.
No, and I think that's what the black community struggles with. It's the fact that I think not having the consistent nature of not having that father, I guess, presence in the community is why they did so well during the Jim Crow era. But then they started to drop off, and it gets to a point to where now you have places like Chicago where it's like it's literally gangs and stuff like that. I mean, that's not the only reason.
And this is the thing, though. Why I brought the black woman up is because even if they have brothers or uncles or grandfathers in their community, the women, they typically run the show.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is the type of male figures aren't, I'm not saying there are none. I'm saying, there's just not, it's not the same thing. And it's just a domino.
It's matriarchal. It's matriarchal. Yeah. It's like, it seems like in the black community, everyone respects a grandmother. But see, in my community, or at least in my situation, everyone relied on my grandfather. So it's like he was the prime example. He was the person we lived after. And it's like in certain communities, even in certain white communities, you see that some people look up to the grandmother, and I think that's detrimental. I think if you don't have that solid foundational rock of a man who controls his family and controls a bad word, but kind of
I know what you mean.
A man that takes care of his family.
Is a leader.
Yeah. It's like, I think you can't get that with a matriarchal structure. If your grandmother's the top tier in your family, then something's wrong. If it's your grandfather or your dad, you can. But
these archetypes
there's a lot of things you're missing.
These archetypes exist because we tend to gravitate toward them naturally sometimes. So it's not like it would go away. But yes, having like a matriarchal structure would see it less often.
Yeah. It's not that you can't see it. It's not that it's physically impossible to see it in every situation. But it's just, if we were to bet just strictly on odds, it's like having that male leadership would probably do you a lot better than having that female leadership.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like, dude, when I want to be de-stressed and I don't want to be thinking about the shit of the world, I'm usually watching shit like the Waltons and stuff. And that grandmother was no joke in that show, but that grandfather, when he wanted to lay the law down, he laid the law down.
Okay, can I ask a retarded question that maybe I already know the answer to? So
why are you prepping it like Kirk does?
Yeah, that was a Kirk. That was a Kirk. Guys, can I ask a question? Okay, so 2 questions, I guess. First of all, if you are, and Tyler, you are probably most likely to know this, but if anyone knows this, tell me. if given the same economic status, like let's say you're poor, are you more likely to live in a single family, a single parent home if you're black versus if you're white? Like even if you're both like equally under the poverty line, is that still like a more thing that happens in the black community than the white community? That's my first question.
I'd probably say white community. Just
I
not
kind of
pure
lost
population.
the exact question you were asking in that explanation.
The question is, given controlling for economic status, if you take two, so I'm trying to find a good way to say this. In the white community and the black community, if you control for economic forces, right? So both people are equally poor. If you're a poor white person, are you more likely to be from a single family dwelling, or sorry, a single parent household than you are if you're black? Or vice
I'd say
versa?
statistically, absolutely, because we don't really measure. Again, you see a lot of fathers in the black community. It's just they don't get married often. Sometimes relationship issues. Sometimes it's not the original dad, and sometimes it's welfare fraud, I guess you could say.
Sorry. Wait. So what's your answer? What was your answer?
I'd say even taking that in consideration, I think that a poor, just as a guess, I don't have the numbers, but I'd say a poor black child would probably be slightly, if not greatly, more likely to be in a single parent household while in poverty.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking, and then I guess this is maybe the retarded question that maybe I should know the answer to. Why do we think that is? So like obviously if that is the case, then it's not just economic. There is something that's going on culturally there. I don't think it's something inherent to the race thing. So what is it? Like what is actually happening there that's causing so many, I guess, baby daddies to just like flee if all economic circumstances are equal? And if we're thinking it's not an inherent race thing, what is the other factor that's causing this to happen so often in that community?
Well, I think like if you think about if you think you have no hope or you can't achieve anything because maybe society tells you there's systemic racism or whatever, you have all this mental oppression that you're not able to achieve. There's like this checkout. And I was thinking about the Great Depression. There were a lot of men that left their families to move to other states to try to find a job in order to bring money back to their family. And when they couldn't find a job or the job failed, they never went back because they couldn't stand to watch their family starve. So it's like, my point is that when you lose hope or you lose any kind of idea that you can achieve anything, and when you have society telling you, yeah, you're oppressed, you're a victim, you have a family that's maybe collecting a check, all of a sudden there does become and so when somebody says there's systemic racism, I would say, I know what you mean by it, but I don't believe what you mean is really what's happening, but I do believe in it. But
yeah, but even that word's only like 10 years old, and even if you take the other iterations of that word,
thing, right?
Even if you go back to like reverse racism or whatever, that even dates back to like the 60s. I don't think there's a direct correlation between leftist black people saying dumb leftist things and the actual black person who is much more conservative than the average white person in a lot of ways. They don't really like gay people, trans people.
Yeah,
they're pretty religious. They're pretty based on a lot of things.
They still
probably don't give a woke answer.
They still broke 60% Democrat, bro.
That's for different reasons. They
Exactly.
disagree. They very much disagree with leftists. Right now, El Said is down by like 80-20 to Haley, what's her name? Haley Stevens, I think it is. He's down 80-20 with Detroit black people because they don't like leftist shit. They don't like transgender shit.
Well, I think the Republicans have found a way to use that against them. I think it's working. But I do think that by and large, even in the next presidential election, you're still going to get a majority black people voting Democrat because they bought into a narrative that party still gives a shit about them.
Yeah, but I think more of an answer to Confluence's question here, I'd say it's because there's a lot of unprotected fucking. This is 12% of the population.
that,
Granted,
100%.
they are
100%.
significantly younger than the white population. I think the median age for whites is in the 50s or 60s, and for black people it's in the 20s. But there's a lot more unprotected fucking. That's why this tiny percentage, like 12% of people, make up, like, I think, wasn't it like physically more the largest group of abortions by race, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. It is. But
true,
here's
yeah.
and yet their community would still have more babies outside of wedlock because they do have a sort of family network that will help a woman raise a child. So there's the more screwing around having babies, there's more abortions on top of that. And
yeah,
so
a lot of black people are very based too. I could see a lot of them being anti-abortion on the low, or just maybe not, in certain circumstances, like just for convenience sake. So I could see that being a mitigating factor as well. And that's probably why you see a higher rate of, black single parent home. Those are probably, in my opinion, the biggest factors. That's what I would guess.
Okay, but why?
I'm gonna hang on. Let me give my reason. I'm gonna be a little Keelan weighted. I think it has a lot to do with the government. I think this small population has such a distaste for the. I think the government has such a small or a bad outlook on the government that it's caused kind of this cultural phenomenon to where I think they're more likely to, they're more likely to, what's the best word for it? They're more likely to give in to the American system and stuff like that. And so there's this utter repulsion from the black community toward the government, toward the American way, toward a lot of these things, which causes them to kind of do their own thing. And I think doing their own thing led them to create this subculture in America that's very negative toward their own community.
Yeah, that's why it's nice seeing, black mentors in the community stand up and try to tell men to be men, kind of Jordan. They need a black Jordan Peterson,
Yeah.
Hey, they got Jesse Peterson.
I don't know if that's such a. I think that's what do you call them? I don't know if I can say this word, the C word, the COON word.
Oh yeah,
that's
don't
what
say
they
that.
would
Yeah, don't say that word.
Okay.
Yeah, because as soon as somebody starts doing something like that or saying something like that, don't tell us to be stronger.
Yeah.
It's like you're an Uncle Tom or something.
It's the syphilis. It's the Black Wall Street. It's the slavery. It's the civil rights movement. I think we've done almost the worst job at integrating the black community into America. Now I think to a certain extent that the black community is integrated into America. But over the last 200 years, we've done probably the worst job at actually trying to integrate the black community, which has caused this subculture to fester so long that now we're getting people who just don't care about America.
Yeah, but hold on. There is a self-victimization through what we did through integrating through slavery. But because now we have even most first generation immigrants from Mexico or South America, those bitches are hard ass workers, dude. And I'm going to tell you right now, when they're doing circles around a legit 3-generation American black person, it's really hard for them to rise up in some sort of equal status, even though they have a majority. And so now, but I will say this, the Democrats realize they only have a little bit more time with the black people, because at the end of the day, that's why all the immigrants were let in, because they knew they needed a whole nother generation of people that were going to need them, because there was no way Republicans were going to be okay with doing handouts. And so the Democrats would be like, we're the people that are going to help you get these handouts. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. if you go back
Oh.
to Lyndon B. Johnson, who was who was actually saying the quiet part out loud, or saying we'll have these blank people voting for
I think
us.
that was
for
fake.
Yeah.
Oh, you think it's faked?
I think it was fake. I think that was disproven.
Okay. If it was disproven, I guess I won't go down that. But I think there's some truth to it. Well,
Yeah,
I
you
guess
can't
we-
argue. You can't argue that there was a subculture in the Democrat sphere after, because the Republicans, if you go back to historic Civil War and the Civil Rights Movement, there were Republicans that were doing the work to help out the Civil Rights Movement. Now, I'm not talking about the weird places like the Alabama school system and stuff like that. I'm
What's
talking
wrong with
about.
that? I'm just wondering
No, I'm
why is it bad for them to say, "Hey, we're going to help you black people out using the mechanisms of government, so vote for us." Like that's exactly how government works.
Exactly.
Well,
I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is that there was a secret. I know this sounds really conspiratorial, but this is a place to do it. You all know about you know all about the Democratic. There was this whole secret underbelly of how to use them, and you had eugenics going on. You had an entire subgroup of people in the Democratic Party that literally were doing everything they could to socialize society. And and you could argue feminism, you could argue the pill, you could argue doing everything they could to destroy families. And I don't think that they really saw that it was going to be the way I think there were some of them that thought that there would be these white, solid families that would be strong, but they didn't realize they were going to be raising a whole bunch of libtard women that were going to be burning their bras and, being hippie children, you know what I mean? And turning into the next generation of liberal women that were going to literally maybe turn gay, or who the hell knows. But my point is that the more that there was liberation going on in the feminism movement, the more that it was happening on both sides of the aisle, both sides of the races that were getting affected by it. But that secret society, society that was literally trying to control African-American culture, that was primarily Democrats. That wasn't Republicans. It's just a fact.
Well, Republicans are kind of, they want to focus on individual traits, it seems like, or at least now I can't say for the majority of Republicans, but it seems like Republicans lean toward the individual nature, and it seems like Democrats want to lean toward the collective.
Yeah,
both of them lean toward both whenever it's convenient for them at any point. And right wingers will pick up identity politics around religion like it's nobody's fucking business.
Yeah, but which one is more?
You're right. You're right.
More?
If we just say natural lean, I think Republicans lean toward natural. I think even if it's the slightest lean, I would say they lean toward individualism more than they lean toward the collective.
Okay, you say individualism, but which one leans more toward the family?
Republicans.
I would probably say Republicans, obviously.
And that's the core of the issue. I don't give a shit if you're black or white. If you lean toward the family and you make it a benefit for a family to be a family more than it is for them to be divided and separated, you are going to have a great nation.
Yeah, but Democrats lean toward the kids because there are those that are divided and separated, and that makes it more universal. And that's why it's good to have a government with a back and forth pendulum to allow both parties to have their way for certain amounts of times and help both groups.
That's why I hate that you're a Democrat.
Yeah, but dude, but let me ask you something, though. Do you think that it would benefit them to have a bunch of kids that are in need of their government? Or do you think it would be better to have a bunch of families that are helping their child out?
It'd probably be better to have families, but that's just not how reality works.
Well, it could maybe be. I'm not talking about utopia, but I'm saying that if you strengthen the family unit in the long term, and it'll pay dividends.
We do all that. We strengthen the family unit in plenty of ways, and we try to incentivize higher birth rates with government in plenty of ways.
We just talked about it. It's easier for a poor family to not have a man in the house and get checks than it is for a family to stay together. So
It's
you, if,
easier. No. It's easier for them to lie to the government and commit fraud. Yes, that's what I was saying.
but
Not to not have a man in the house.
married, but if you're not married, isn't it easier to walk away?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean,
My point is, I know a lot of my friends that brag about how many babies mamas they got. So they're having kids with multiple women, and they're not staying with a single woman in a single family. That's my
but
point.
they haven't settled down. But like that's like saying,
Well, they haven't
well, if
settled
more
down, they're
people
taking
have
advantage of
guns, people
they
are going to
don't-
get more people are going to get shot, right? It
No,
doesn't really address
no.
my
You're-
argument.
no,
You're just making
no,
a
you're
broader
missing-
argument.
No, you're missing my point. My point is that if that dude knows that his child isn't going to be provided for by a government check, he's going to maybe have more of a conscience and not
Maybe.
want to leave the woman and the child.
Maybe it'll go from 3% to 4%, and then he still won't feed that child, and then the child just goes hungry under your system or mine. They're universally taken care of. So
Hey, 4%
Yeah,
is
but-
better than 3%.
No,
We
no.
can
Sometimes
fight fraud.
gradual steps,
You know-
or sometimes
We can
gradual
fight
steps
hunger and
better
we can
than-
fight fraud with our government. Like you're pretending like this fraud is just like, well, it's going to happen and we can't do anything about it. No, we can actually police it. And the problem is it's not
Well,
being
we
policed.
tried to do
in the
that.
black
We
community.
tried to
It's
do
been
that
done.
shit with Doge, and what happened? We got a whole bunch of shit for being racist with Doge, and everybody knew there was fraud.
Like there has to be like I don't know what you're talking about. Everyone said
Well,
he was racist because he
No,
cut
I'm
funding
saying-
for
I'm
USAID.
No, that was just the one that they put in the media and made a big deal about. He literally, if you watch a lot of Elon's interviews, he says that is just one part of it. He goes, there is so much fraud. He was talking about the Social Security checks as an example. I mean, that was a big part of the news. They talked about that a little bit, but I'm talking
That
about the
has
amount.
nothing to do with
the
like the Somalis.
No, but we're talking about in the black community, people taking advantage of the government. I'm saying Doge was trying to deal with that shit, but their whole operation was put on blast and on spotlight to where
Wait.
they didn't have a chance.
How did they
Wait,
not have a
Confluence has been
chance?
quiet.
Doge's
Okay, never
main
mind.
job
Yeah,
was
I'm
hold
here.
on. Doge's main job was
Oh,
against the government.
Are we gonna watch the
Doge-
video that I sent you, Confluence?
Doge was an audit
yes,
on the
not
government.
today, but one day.
Oh fuck!
Well, I mean, we could.
Wait,
I guess
today
it's
is
only
Monday.
I guess it's only 7:25, so we could.
I mean, if you want to, I guess really, there's only one clip I want you to see, and even if you decide not to show it on stream, there is one clip I would like you to see out of it.
If I was on StreamYard, I would just play it, but I'd have to like start a new stream.
No, no.
Unfortunately, because I'm on OBS.
Confluence, you're the mod, or you're the channel owner, so I don't want to pressure you into anything. But there is one clip I want you to see out of it.
Actually, maybe I can't. Maybe I can fucking do it live. Okay, send me
Can you
the
do it
timestamp.
Can't you do it in Discord or no?
Yeah, I
No,
got
I
you.
should on OBS. I should. There's a way to do this because I'm showing Mario, so I should be able to just switch it to whatever tab and then have that going.
Well, how do you normally show video? Like when you showed the debate, how did you do that?
Normally
in
I'm on.
Discord?
Normally I'm streaming on
StreamYard.
StreamYard, but right now I'm streaming on OBS. That's why it's like you guys are joining Discord. It's not like a panel.
Well, don't be
Okay.
pressured. Don't feel like you're pressured into it. I don't want to be like a Kirk where I fucking
No.
just. Okay.
But yeah, so like while you're getting to that, the point you're making is like because we can't manage something that's never going to go away, we should stop doing the action, and it just doesn't. No, like under my system, women aren't going to starve, or children aren't going to starve, and you can fight the fraud. Whereas under yours, you're just like, well, it has a higher chance, so just I guess fuck them, and it just doesn't really compute with how like a Western country runs anymore.
I just got lost.
Oh, I was
Wait,
responding to
Tyler,
your
can
point.
I
I was waiting.
Tyler, can
Yeah.
I glaze
No, my
you
bad.
just for a second?
What's that?
Can I do a little glazing? I'm a little drunk, so if you wouldn't mind, can I do a little glazing?
Well, I guess, yeah. I'll do what you.
Okay. Out of everybody that debates, you're probably my second favorite debater. I don't know if I've ever told you that in person.
I've heard some praise. I don't know if it was ever that thorough.
Well, I mean,
I
I
was
like
say
a
more.
fair.
Keep going.
I feel like I
tell.
like at least know about 50 debaters, but it's like between Rob and you, I would say you're second best in my favorite debaters. Just of any topic, anything off the dome.
I would say, in my opinion, in the short time I've been here, you're the number one person I enjoy hearing from the other side. Because usually I would probably be in disagreement with you on a lot of different things, but you're not an asshole.
Well, think if I was more than just an average debate enjoyer too, like above average debate enjoyer, that would be.
Well, I mean, I'm just new to knowing you guys.
Yeah, I mean, just arguing.
I've watched lots of debates. I've watched lots of debates. They're usually very contentious.
Okay,
I just did a live debate like 2 weeks ago at Grid's event.
Yeah, I like you so much better than Let's Shoot. Let's Shoot's gay and faking gay.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I did enjoy the debate you had against what's his name? Vigilant. What's his name?
Vigilante.
Oh, Vigilante.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Well, wait. Which debate was that? What topic was that on?
What was that topic? Yeah.
I have debated. I think we debated 3 weeks in a row on Horseradish's channel.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even tell you which one.
And
I used to call him. Veggie was my debate punching bag because I was like 4-0 against him.
Yeah. Who was the dude you just debated?
Oh,
who?
On Grid.
On Grid's show, it was Vince Wilson.
Vince Vaughn. That's who it is.
No, who'd you debate on? Who'd you debate on Khan's channel?
Kirk. Channel. Fucking Kirk.
Yeah. That was funny.
I mean, that's easy pickings. You can't judge that one. You can't judge Tyler off that one. That was easy
Poor
picking.
Kirk, I think Kirk was supposed. Did somebody say that he actually got a win on that?
Futoy.
Yeah, he's just butthurt. Yeah.
Why am I in endless mode? Someone give me tech support here. Why is it like looping back on itself?
Like,
I'm
it
trying
was
to
so
share
one-sided.
my StreamYard thing. Why is it doing this?
You got to call Alex.
Your natural underdog desire to root for Kirk just kicks in because it was such a fucking beatdown. Like, it was one of the most one-sided debates I've ever engaged in.
Kirk, are you not going to defend yourself? We're talking about, and you can actually talk now without asking questions.
He's muted, and then at the end of it, he goes, "I think I won."
We'll see. I thought
he did a pretty good job. He didn't do a shitty job. He's doing pretty good.
I think it was an absolute mugging. I think Anson came on after and did a better job than Kirk. Could he just off the top of his head?
Yeah. We'll see. Kirk, he's so interested in the 3 to 4D type arguments, and it's like he doesn't learn the basics. And I think Confluence has found this out after a while. Like the fact that he's huge into economics, doesn't really know the basics of libertarian philosophy. I think Tyler actually demonstrated a better job of demonstrating basic libertarian economics and what the people that Kirk idolizes believes. Same thing with Kirk loves the advanced versions of math, but doesn't know trigonometry. Kirk loves economics, but doesn't know what a credit card is. It's like these the foundations he just doesn't know.
No, he's learning the concepts of these things. He's not actually learning the things.
I was surprised. The big tell was Wedge. I couldn't believe he didn't know what a fulcrum was. It was like, wait a minute. There's no way. He's got to be screwing with you guys.
Thing was crazy.
Because he gets interested, and instead of naturally learning into the field, it's like he just wants to know what the top people think, and the top people already know the fundamentals, so they already know the basics of it. But it's
already know all this.
Okay, Brandon, help me with this. You do this, right? What am I doing wrong here? Okay, I'm trying to share.
Yeah, come on.
I'm trying to move us to StreamYard without starting over again. So I'm sharing the StreamYard window, but my camera's not loading for some reason.
Wait, hang on. Can you play the video and share the video?
says
You have to
change
go on the
display
yard?
capture.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be easier to do it, but maybe that's not the easiest way to do it.
We all
He
know
said
this about Kirk, though. We all know what the fucking problem is. We all know what the medicine is, and it's to bully him out of this until he becomes just a normal person. And it'll work. Just give it time. It's been working. We're seeing progress.
Tyler, you've been right on this 100%. Because I would say even the few couple of months, it's like Kirk, I think, is embarrassed to bring up trans stuff anymore. Like, he'll bring it up when you're not on panel. But the moment you enter panel, I don't think he wants to talk about it anymore.
It's good. Hopefully,
It works. It works.
Yeah, it's like a speed running. Like, you could teach people these things, and then they have to go through their own life lessons and go out and embarrass themselves in public. Or you could bully them, and you could force that embarrassing situation to happen. And it's like speed running becoming an adult. So, like, it's a little cruel, but, you know, the ends justify the means.
Now, Tyler, I gotta be honest. And this is me because I'm not into the blood sporting debate thing, but I think, and you definitely know your shit. You study it, but I think that what I don't like mostly is when people train to debate and learn how to debate, just to find ways to back people into corners. Because I feel like it's better when there's a dialogue and you're very concise and slow on the topic,
right,
but it
and we
seems
already know
like
the
you
prompt?
get, it rises to another level. Like Jay Dyer and Andrew Wilson, like they have a special tactic to win a debate. It's mannerisms, how they're coming off, the way that the way they use their voice. And I know those are tactics. I get it because it's to win the audience more than it is, anything else. But I've never found those debates as edifying.
Tyler, let me take
That
this
shit.
so that way you're not describing it, so you're not being biased. Tyler seems to be more about the content than the actual debate itself. So it's like he's not arguing semantics. He's not arguing debate tactics. He's not hitting you with fallacies. He's actually talking about the content itself. And I think that's what separates Tyler from a Jay Dyer, an Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, and by the way, Tyler,
yeah.
I wasn't saying that was you. I'm just saying
No,
I know
I
you
don't
can
like that shit
enter.
either.
Yeah, you would enter those spheres and be fine because I think you could hold your own and you have the mannerisms and you have the way of, you have a way of vocalizing it that conveys confidence. And of course, I've got this, but like those other guys, the way that they do it, it's literally to put on a performance of winning.
I think I got it set up, by the way.
Yeah, it looks like
There's a financial gain from all this, so absolutely. If you're going there, you get a crowd, you get
fucking
this could be a
Tyler's
breakout
fucking
debate.
stream.
Yeah.
His DOE or whatever the fuck this shit is.
It's Dota, yeah.
League of Legends.
I've been playing. I'm 48 minutes in. I can hold a casual conversation about politics. Play some Dota. Let's go.
Oh, Dodo, yeah, DOD. Or wait,
like
what is it called?
Dota. Defense of the Ancients.
Wait, what's it called?
Defense of the Ancient.
Dota.
Oh, okay. I thought this was League of Legends.
It's like the same game.
Thing.
It's like it's like people
Yeah,
want to
it's like
rage and like spur while they play and tell everyone to kill themselves. Same thing.
This is the older
people
version.
That like Power World instead of Pokemon.
So did you figure it out?
Pokemon in that analogy.
Yeah, I figured it out. So so I can start this. It's 11 minutes long, so I feel like we could just watch. If someone wants to say,
wait, come on.
Oh wait, I have to wait. Shoot.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I got
to share. Compliment. That's
share
what I'm
the
saying.
thing. Yeah, because for you, so the audience can see it, but yeah, for you guys to see it, I gotta share my screen on Discord. Okay, I'm learning. Okay, so now everyone in here can click the StreamYard, and then everyone on YouTube can hopefully see it and hear it. Inshallah.
Let me give you some context. Can I give some context? This is my favorite apologist. His name's Elijah Johnson. He's the guy with dreads on the right hand side. He's one of my favorite apologists. No, not God Logic. No, his name's Elijah Johnson. I know he's black, and I know he does if he shaved his head.
Hmm.
But this is my favorite apologist, Protestant, full fledged. Don't give a fuck. He's a little Catholic coded, but he hasn't fully committed. So there's my contact.
Okay, and he's debating this Muslim guy
This
based on his hat.
Sheikh Uthman.
Who?
His name is Shaykh Uthman.
Oh.
Sheikh Uthman. Yeah.
Whatever.
Right. Okay, audience, someone in the audience. Brandon, if you're there. Or World Radio. Good to see you, by the way. Someone tell me.
But if you do want to say it again, please
Sub
feel free to
Elijah,
do
if
so.
you want.
You could say it. Just
Okay, so I'm
I
waiting for
can't-
chat. Chat. Could you guys hear it? Also,
I
did you
can't-
guys hear that in Discord?
No.
Did you join the screen share?
Yeah.
Wait, then how did you... Wait, what? You joined the screen share
He
for
hasn't
sure?
played it. He
Yeah.
hasn't played it.
I did.
No,
I
he
started
played it.
playing
He did. Yeah, he played
Oh
a
yeah,
little bit,
we see a pod screen. Okay,
Should we
now
start?
it's
Let's
playing.
go.
Okay.
It's all on you.
but no audio.
Jesus is not
No,
Almighty
no
God.
audio. Damn it, Confluence,
How is
cucking
that?
me.
How's that possible? How do you guys not have audio?
I'm literally like full screen the clip. Confluence, you better not cuck me, man. I don't ask for much. I'm not like
maybe-
Race Page. I don't ask for money.
Maybe Soda has to turn the volume up on the YouTube.
I'm trying to think why there wouldn't be audio here.
Because I mean, every time you've played a video, it's been audio. Do you still have Mario up?
It's muted and hidden.
But is the fact that Mario itself is muted causing this screen?
No, because assuming people on, let me check the Discord. Yeah, the Discord is, or sorry, YouTube is saying they can hear it. So it's like a Discord thing. Okay, you know what? Let's just do this on StreamYard. I'll just end this stream. I'll start a new stream on StreamYard, and then we could just do it the normal way. Is that better?
See, I'm glad you love me. Yeah, let's do it that way.
I do love you. Okay, we'll do it that way.
Attaboy, Confluence.
Everyone join.
Attaboy.
I'll make it in give me 1 minute to put up the